stuff like that. I thought Britain First were bad and all this kind of shit, which is like a far right political group in the UK. But I remember, there was that dude that landed a probe on an asteroid, and he had like a few girls on his shirt, and the kind of SJWs soyed out about that. And I remember thinking at the time, damn, that fucking sucks. And then from there, I started to kind of investigate some of like the anti-SJW kind of content, and I found it to be initially, at least, quite compelling, And then it like went through further and ended up being, probably somewhat racist, a bit transphobic, and all of the memes you would expect. And I always thought, damn, I had crippling depression at the time, but I always thought, damn, I'd love to be able to set up like a channel and talk about this stuff. And I think I've got something to say, and I think I've got something to add. Fortunately, I never did, or otherwise I'd probably be doing like a Hunter Avalone type thing now. But that went on for a little while, and then eventually kind of my views softened, and I became a bit more of a sort of lefty. Yeah, and then June or July 2019, I think it was July, I set up a Twitter account and thought, I'm going to start dunking on chuds, And it was kind of sorry to look back on it now, but at the time, it sounded like a cool idea. Okay, it sounded like a really fucking cool idea. Anyway, I started doing that. I built up a bit of a following, and eventually, November 2019, I'd put it off for ages. I thought, right, now this is my opportunity. I've got a little platform. I'm going to start making videos. And at first, I thought, hey, I'm going to set up a YouTube channel and make YouTube videos. So August 2019, I set up a YouTube channel. But like, I always would try and write something or think of something or think of an idea. But it never really kind of went anywhere, and I couldn't write anything. I couldn't write something down of what I wanted to say. And then I thought, well, I know streaming's a thing. Maybe that's going to be easier for me. Maybe I can just fly off the cuff about stuff, which, I did. That's what I started to do. I thought, right, fuck this. I'm just going to get a microphone. I'm going to set up a Twitch account, and I'm just going to do a stream and see what happens. So November 19th, 2019, that's exactly what I did. I got my microphone, I turned my stream on, and I started talking about shit that I thought was funny or political or whatever. And that's how it started.
Okay. So, like, one thing is, after one shows up, you don't necessarily talk about, like, what your specific topics are. What do you, like, label yourself politically? Just kind of out of curiosity, like, what do you consider yourself politically?
Oh, sorry, you're roboting a bit there.
So, what she was trying to ask, generally speaking, like, you don't come out and label yourself particularly politically, and it's not necessarily that you're aloof, but like on the general political spectrum kind of scale, where would you kind of place yourself if you were to try to do that?
Okay. So I would on the I'm on a few different spectrums, I'd say, but on the political spectrum, I would probably put myself, on the left somewhere. Although I don't really like the kind of left-right paradigm. I think that it's a bit outdated, and there's more nuanced ways of looking at these things. I kind of call myself a Marxist as shorthand because that's the closest thing I can think to label myself as. But my true belief is that we're all like functioning liberals. It doesn't really matter what you call yourself, because if your every waking action is to, go to your job, go and buy some shit, like rent a house, whatever, functionally you were just contributing to and supporting like liberal ideology. And it's not really like a value judgment. It's just that's the way it is. So I feel like people labeling themselves is a bit of a cope, and people do it and they put this kind of badge on their chest and they brand themselves. But if you actually look at the, meat and potatoes of what they're doing, they're not really doing anything. They're just taking actions which support the current status quo, really. And I think people kind of do more cope and they kid themselves into thinking that they're doing more. But in reality, they're not really. I think people are nowhere near extreme enough to really be able to claim the political labels that they do. If you call yourself an anarchist and all you're doing is posting on Twitter, I mean, you're not really an anarchist, are you? I would see an anarchist as someone that's chucking pipe bombs into fucking, the postal service building or something. But just posting online, yeah, I don't know. Seems a bit of a weak sort of, adherence to anarchist philosophy to just post fucking shitty memes online. About how you're going to Roblox or the landlords or whatever.
Yeah, that sounds about right. So kind of like let's really get into it now. So you have often said that you kind of your first kind of big introduction to the space, or people being introduced to you, was your grooming allegations. What
Hmm.
what was that whole process?
Um, so now we're getting into the real memes. Basically, so early 2020, okay, gotta be honest, I was a bit cringe, okay? I was experiencing, looking back now, what would be cringe to say is success, but some success in content creation. You know, I had like 30 viewers, I had a few hundred subscribers on YouTube. I had a Discord with like 100 people in or something. So, you know, I was feeling pretty good about things. And I was just stupid. And there were times when, you know, I just kind of initiate conversations with people from Discord, and yeah, it would just become flirtatious, um, you know, and yeah, like I had a few conversations with a few different people that I look back on now and cringe about, particularly because some of the people I spoke to were really fucking ugly and I was down bad, it would seem. But anyway, that's besides the point. So, you know, that happened sort of March, April time. And I think eventually uh, I kind of moved away from this behavior. Although, you know, admittedly, there's still some people that I spoke to, but I tried to be a lot more cautious, you know, before my scandal even came out, um, about the kind of people I was speaking to, and not just kind of randomly messaging someone from Discord, and being a bit more considerate of, like, you know, that process. Anyway, so January 13th, um, I, you know, had a nap at home, just normal. January 6th had just happened. You know, things, this is 2020, things were sort of kicking off. There was some memes knocking about and so on of like politics. Anyway, I think I just got home from seeing my kids actually, and I was having a nap. And then I woke up, and I woke up at about midnight. And I woke up to, you know, tens upon tens, like probably 40 Discord messages, you know, a bunch of Twitter messages, just absolutely inundated with messages. And I was just like, you know, I was kind of half asleep, like, what is going on? Why have I got so many messages? And then I started to look through them, and I was like, oh no. Oh no, 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 no. What? So this person, Haley, I think the name was, had come out with some accusations and allegations against me. And they titled it kind of like grooming, and they'd expressed, you know, discomfort, or, you know, like they basically expressing that I'd behaved in an inappropriate way with them. Now, in the messages themselves, this person had said, you know, I was 17 at the time, but I told Chud believed I was 18, right? Now, unfortunately, people had either missed that bit, or no, they said they were over 18, right? So, unfortunately, people had misread that bit, either intentionally or unintentionally, and I could already see that a narrative was starting to spread that not the truth, which is that I believe this person was over 18 and was talking to them on that basis, but that not only did I know they were under 18, but also I enjoyed that fact too. And, you know, I was getting decried as like a paedophile, as a groomer. You know, people were kind of unfollowing me. I had messages from people that I'd been like friendly with saying I can't associate with you anymore. On that note, I guess I'd categorize it into three sort of categories. So there was some people who had looked at it all and determined, you know, yeah, this is complete bullshit. They're trying to fuck you up, Chud. You know, I stand by you type situation. And then there was people that were like, I'm a bit uncertain about this. Like, I trust you, but I want to hear a bit more. Like, I want to hear your side before I come to any final conclusions. And then finally, it was I can't believe you've done this. I'm disassociating from you. And that group of people, it wasn't just DMs that was happening. It was like publicly on Twitter. I was getting fucking decried left, right, and center. And the other problem as well is this person had come out and told their story. And then someone else came out and also said, oh, yes, I had these interactions with Chud, you know, hashtag grooming, content morning grooming. And, you know, obviously I'd remembered my interactions with all of these kind of people that were saying things. And I was like, well, hang on a second. Like, you now are going to jump on this and say there was something inappropriate about the conversation when we'd had a consensual, flirtatious conversation that hadn't, moved forward really beyond that. And then, she was sharing DMs that showed a reciprocal conversation, but somehow people were seeing that as I was doing something incredibly untoward to them. And it's, and it's like, it's like, why the fuck are you coming out saying I've groomed you when you're a 30-year-old woman? Right? That's insane to me. But yeah, obviously that happened. And I think there was like maybe a couple of other people. I don't know. I mean, there's this kind of image of me that goes around as being some sort of Lothario messaging people left, right, and center. But that's really not the reality. I think a couple of people came forward. But yeah, obviously it was a very troubling time mentally. You've got this reputation that you feel is being torn to shreds in front of your eyes. And yeah, like it's tough. It's tough. And it's like, I'm thinking, do I need to stop streaming? Is this the end for me? It feels like there's not going to be a way out of this. People are just going to believe this, and that's that. And yeah, I mean, at that point, I remember I was speaking to a friend on Discord about it, and I heard, hey, someone messaged me, Destiny's watching on stream now and talking about your allegations. And then I guess that's when the next part of the story begins. But before I get to that, is there anything you wanted to ask or check about what I've said so far?
Why did you groom a 30-year-old? Like that's really big.
Well, I mean, at the time, I don't know.
Was she attractive at least?
No.
Man, you are down bad. I can hear your story.
Yeah, that's a lot of effort.
Yeah, sure. So basically, I found out Destiny was watching the stream, and honestly, like, I kind of know, I knew obviously of Destiny. I've been on a panel once with Destiny, but Destiny didn't really know me, so I didn't really know what to expect. I was a bit like, what's he gonna say? And then when I watched it, and I kind of realized that he was like being super critical of those that were kind of attacking me, and was, kind of had my back and had my corner. It was like, a wave of relief kind of washed over me. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah, I definitely understand. So like you were accused of grooming, and then pretty much Destiny came out and was like, "No, fuck you. This isn't true." Right? What was the kind of shift into that? Like, what was it? Because you were saying that it was kind of shifting. A lot of people were going away from you. As soon as Destiny defended you, did it just like these people just kind of like flood back all of a sudden, and they were just like, "Hey, want to be friends again?"
Well, it didn't really happen like that. What happened was, because obviously initially, all that I really saw was like the people shitting on me, because I was somewhat known a bit. I was a partner by then. I was probably like 70, 80 average viewers, but still kind of small potatoes in the grand scheme of things. So it was mainly kind of the leftoids that were talking about and tearing strips out of me. And I think what happened was, as soon as Destiny covered it, it was the people from Destiny's community kind of like, it was like the floodgates were opened, and they came in and they started kind of, and obviously some of it is like, yes, fuck these people, but also some of it was like, slow down, guys. But there was this sort of unrepentant, like, criticism from people from Destiny's community, I would guess. Obviously other people who like are kind of watching from the sidelines, but certainly core people from Destiny's community were, really going to bat for me. And I think at that point I had kind of more people message me supportive messages. I also had people that, were messaging me critical of me, not because they think I'd done anything wrong in doing what I did before, but they felt the way I was dealing with it wasn't enough. Like they wanted me to go more hard, or they wanted me to like go super hard. Because I put out a tweet by this point just saying, look, I'm going to talk about this tomorrow. But basically the way the initial screenshots from the first person have been edited, they were edited in such a way as to make it look like I was a groomer. Like there was like screenshots which are so fucking thin of like a couple of my messages, but when you look at the full context of the conversation, it makes like a lot more sense. Like, and it was just, now I would say, an intentional thing where they're cutting screenshots in such a way as to, make it look like I'm way worse than I am. So that was kind of, getting called out a bit. But yeah, when I tweeted that out, I wasn't like kind of super hard. I was just like, hey, look, this is the truth of this message. And people were like, super fucking hard on me, and you know, were like, hey, why aren't you telling them to fuck off? You've done nothing wrong. Da 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 da. And I think that, like, looking back on it, I think on reflection, there was probably some truth to what these people were saying. Like, I think I did think something's wrong, and there were some ways that I acted that were inappropriate. But in the context of, like, the passage of time, I look back and think, you know, I think all of the negative criticism and attention led me to the position that I'd done way more wrong than I actually had. You know, when you've got so many people calling you these names, you know, it's almost like, well, I don't think I'm that, but I've probably done something wrong, you know, like that's in between. But the truth of it is the things that I'd done wrong were, like, quite minor in the grand scheme of things, you know, particularly considering my size at the time when I was like a 30-year Andy. But yeah, the other thing I guess that happened as well is there were some people who, I think, just off the back of Destiny's coverage, were like, oh, actually, yeah, this is fine. You've not done anything wrong. But there were some people that, which is fair enough, you know, they wanted to wait to see the full story. So they waited until I did my stream the next day, you know, to really pass judgment. But yeah.
Okay, that seems to track. Don't groom 30-year-old people. All right, just that's bad. So one big thing that you're known for is you staying anonymous, using VTubers, not really saying too much about your personal life, stuff like that. Now you are going to reveal what you look like, if I'm not wrong, am I? That you're soon
That's
going to
correct.
reveal. Okay, so we know facial kind of, but before that, you for quite a long time have kept your face as a secret and many other things. What are kind of the reasons that you've decided you were like, no, I don't want to show my face, I'm going to use a VTuber, and kind of stay more anonymous within the space, but while also still streaming?
Sorry, what was that? Sorry? I
Yeah,
missed that last bit.
what? Yeah. What are some of the reasons why you decided to stay like anonymous within this space?
Oh, right. Okay. Well, I think that when I first got into this, I think the reality is that I had an overstated view because of the kind of content I consumed. I had this kind of overstated view of, like, the idea of, like, doxing and stuff like that. I think doxing's bad, obviously, but, like, I think I had more of a perception that my life would be at greater danger, you know, if my details got revealed. And basically, not showing your face is a big way that you can protect yourself from that. And for me, it was also my kids. Like, I didn't want my kids to get any sort of shit because of the stuff I was doing online. But I think with the passage of time and now doing the kind of content that I'm doing, I feel that that risk is, like, at least somewhat alleviated. So, you know, I just think that my perception of the risks has changed quite a bit over the last couple of years. And I think that, you know, for a number of reasons, it makes more sense to come onto camera than to keep my identity, you know, somewhat obscured by not being on camera, you know?
Does it worry you at all for like finally going on to camera of someone actually trying to harass you in real life? So do you have any fear of that?
Well, I think the reality is, unless I get a real, complete kind of schizo person come along, I think the reality is that it's unlikely that the kinds of people that watch this kind of content would have the minerals to actually come up to me in the street, you know, and you know, start shit with me. Like, I'm not, you know, I'm not like a fucking fighter or anything. You know, I'm not a particularly aggro guy, or, you know, I haven't been in many fights in my life. But, you know, I'm kind of like 6 foot, and I think that you know, I've got quite a like, I've got a big beard. I don't think if someone were to look at me, they would think, oh yeah, let's go roll this guy over, you know. So I think the biggest risk would probably be like someone coming and shooting me or something like that. But again, I'm in England. That's unlikely in and of itself. How likely is it that some nutter's going to come and shoot me in the middle of the street in America? Probably unlikely. So, yeah, like I say, I think my just perception of the risk has changed quite a lot. Um, you know, since I started this. So, yeah.
Yeah. So one of your best friends that often speaks really well of you, Infrared. You've had notorious conversations with him and stuff like that, to the point where he has put out tweets calling you a groomer and a pedophile and stuff like that. Where did the whole feud between you and Infrared start? And like, why does he love you so much?
Well, basically, um, what happened was when infrared first came to the space, I actually was, somewhat positive. In fact, I'm more praising sometimes of infrared because although I thought he was a bit nutty in some of the takes that he felt very genuine, and it felt like he genuinely wanted to build some sort of like socialist thing, and even if I disagreed with some takes or something like that, it seemed like he actually wanted to do something on this platform, beyond just like make content out of it. Like there's a video he did where he spoke about what his plan was and how he was going to kind of do things. And obviously that's changed now. I've got a very different view on all of that now. I think he is literally just, very content brained and wants to just make content and just like everyone else. But basically, I was sometimes critical of him, but I'd also watch streams and kind of laugh and think some of the stuff he did was funny and stuff like that. Um, but yeah, basically what happened was I got wind that he was like, kind of like getting really mad about his viewers, and he was doing really insane things. Like he would have a stream start and there wouldn't be enough viewers in, and then he would like end the stream because he didn't get enough viewers and stuff like that. And so I just did a segment about it, and I kind of watched him and I spoke about it. I was maybe a bit acerbic at points, maybe was poking a bit of fun. But broadly speaking, my overall point is that viewers fluctuate. Your viewers will go up, and then at some point they'll eventually come down. That's just how Twitch works. It's how it all works. And you've got to, maintain your perspective in order so that you can benefit from the upswing that you're going to get in viewers. That was the fundamental point that I was making. And I was explaining how, getting agitated and frustrated and acting like this on stream is a really bad look and it's not going to help you. That's basically all I said. In principle. Obviously, there was probably a few memes in there. I was probably poking a bit of fun. But, I was just kind of talking about it and saying, this is a bad idea. You shouldn't do this, You got to kind of ride the wave up and down as you go and always maintain a front of like, everything's going to be okay. Everything's going to be fine. Don't kind of like go mental about it. Anyway, Haas like got wind of this, watched it, and like kind of lost his shit. He kind of lost his shit over it. And, I was like, okay, like, I don't think I was like being super harsh, but fair enough. Anyway, we ended up then having this debate, and it was crazy because he like did this weird British accent. And then there were some really funny moments. Like he was trying to say I was like an irrelevant orbiter or something because of the percentage of viewers that I shared with irrelevant. And then there was some conversation about what percentage of viewers he shared on Twitch. And when I pushed him on it, because he sent me a screenshot that would cut off 3 of the names. So he only sent me the 2 names first. So, right, that's the percentage of my viewers. I said, what about the other 3? And his argument hinged on the fact that because I had a percentage audience share with irrelevant, that meant I was an irrelevant orbiter, right? But then when he sent it to me, it turned out that he shared a percentage of viewers with me on that list. So by his own logic, he was an orbiter of me. And it was just such a funny moment. And basically, he kind of was coping and stuff. That was the other thing as well. He got really mad about my use of the word cope. He was so mad about my use of the word cope. But yeah, he was so mad about that. Anyway, he was kind of like debating me on it, and we were going backwards and forwards. And to be honest, I was bodying him. Like his logic didn't really make sense, and his own logic worked against him too. But then it got to the point where basically, obviously, his chat had gone off and they'd found these kind of old allegations. Bear in mind, this was earlier this year. And, they'd found my allegations from a year ago. And this is a very common theme, is people will kind of bring them back up to try and kind of use them against me, So he started bringing it up with me. And, it was like, I was just saying to him, like, this is like very common leftoid shit. People have used this against me a lot. If you want to go down that route, that's fine, but you've lost the argument if you do this. So I kind of put him in this position where it's like, we can talk about this if you want, but if you do, you've basically conceded the argument to me. And so it created this kind of bit of friction. And then the conversation went on, and then he just went full locale, and he was just kind of ranting at me, and it was just like so pointless. And then and I think I left the call because it was just insufferable. I can't remember what he's doing, but it was just insufferable. And I think, from there, obviously, that really kind of fractured whatever. Because, you know, we'd had friendly conversations before in DMs. And, you know, I said, hey, I'm sorry you got banned this one time for this reason and stuff like that. But yeah, and then eventually he ended up getting banned from Twitch. And when I was on YouTube one time, I covered one of his videos and we were just kind of laughing at it, having some fun with it and, you know, milking the lol cow basically. And then he obviously heard about it and again got really angry and really triggered. And he was saying that, oh, I'm going to make this video about Chud Logic and I'm going to out him. You know, it's stuff I've heard a million times before, right? I'm going to out him as all this stuff. And I mean, the video never came. But the thing is like, nowadays he's kind of taken a back seat, and I think that what's happened with Haas is people kind of enjoyed him at first and they liked like the lol cow element, they thought it was funny and they thought some of the memes are funny, but I feel like people have just got on board of it, and because it is the same shit, him schizo posting for 3 or 4 hours at a time, people just aren't interested anymore. So I don't know what his viewership's like on YouTube. I've not really seen that, to be honest. But anyway, when we did this video on YouTube, I was kind of mocking it. And my editor, DK, put up the video and the title was something like, you know, Haas not doing very well on YouTube. And it was a complete fucking troll. It was a total fucking troll, right? He fucking lost it over this title. Like, he was so angry about it. And obviously sent all of his fucking, you know, zero IQ viewers over to come and give me shit about it. So, yeah, I mean, there's, you know, Haas unfortunately is someone who, you know, is just insane, and that's it basically.
Well, it sounds like you two are great friends. So I kind of want to. So talking about people who you've been kind of affiliated with is one of the most controversial people ever, Mr. Girl.
Yeah.
Mr. Girl's been very outspoken about him liking you, being friends with you, and you've been fairly outspoken about Mr. Girl as well. What is your relationship with Mr. Girl, and how did that really come about?
So with Mr. Girl, basically how it came about was that I found out about Mr. Girl when he first came onto the scene, and he was causing a ruckus. And basically like going to different streams talking about the pedo shit, and everyone was talking about him. So I watched a couple of his videos, and you know, I I couldn't really figure him out. So I wasn't sure whether it was a meme, whether it was serious. I think, you know, obviously some of the stuff he was saying was quite provocative, so I maybe didn't fully grasp some of the core arguments that he was making. And also he was framed in a very particular way by a lot of big content creators, so that I think, you know, had something of an influence. Anyway, you know, I had this friendly conversation with him, and I was kind of calling him a nonce and stuff like that. I brought Stardust on to talk about that, and then did another panel, and then did a debate between Stardust and Merrick, and they argued about it. Then did a panel talking about platforming him, and Mr. Girl rocked up and came onto the panel. Now, following that, me and Mr. Girl had a sort of like, I think we both had this feeling of we didn't really truly get each other, right? Like, we ended up following each other on Twitter, and it was kind of left at that. We didn't really interact much further from there. But then, during the Dr. K arc, I got wind right at the start that Mr. Girl had interviewed this coaching person from Dr. K, from Healthy Gamer. And the thing is, I'm just going to pause alerts actually. And the thing is that I'd heard of Healthy Gamer. I didn't know the full extent of what was going on. So what I did is I watched this discussion he had with him, and it kind of started to reveal some details that got me thinking, what is this all about? Some of this doesn't seem right. And then I started to kind of look into it, and there were some things that I just saw initially that seemed quite troubling. And then from there, obviously, I got into talking about the Ayurveda stuff, and I was critical of that, and it kind of went on from there. But right at the start, pretty much, Mr. Girl had messaged me about it, and he said, you know, I've listened to you talking about Dr. K. Like, clearly you feel very passionately about this, and you truly believe this. And then from there, we talked about it, and we developed this bond, basically over like this joint dislike and criticism of Dr. K. And yeah, it was like kind of a bonding experience, really. And, you know, from there, I think it led me to just developing this friendship with him, basically. Now, bear in mind, after the panel where I'd spoken to him, and it kind of ended, we didn't really know what each other was about. I'd received a little bit of criticism, not massive amounts, but a little bit of criticism on Twitter, and people were sort of decrying me just for having him on. And I leaned into it, basically, and I was like, if you're going to criticize me for what happened last night, I'm going to bring like 3 convicted pedophiles on to speak without stopping them. Like, they can just say whatever they want, because I was like, yeah, fuck you. And all the kind of soys came out. Like, I remember people making tweets about it and complaining. It's like, just pathetic. And a lot of these people have just delved further into the soy. And I think that a lot of that was led by the fact that Vosh had such a fractious conversation with him, that they had this perception. So I don't really care by that point if people wanted to dissociate with me. And, I thought that Mr. Girl was doing some really interesting content about Dr. K. So this kind of led to my own Dr. K arc, which I think is one of the big events in my time as a Twitch streamer, kind of one of the big arcs that I've done that really, put me in front of people and got people talking about me and stuff like that. So kind of in a way, it was through Dr. K doing that I had this thing happen, which was quite a profound moment for my streaming career, and through that, this is where the kind of ride or die mentality came from. There was the Fanatic panel where he came on after I'd left because I was trying to get him on. I got kicked off, and he said he wasn't going to stay on the panel if I couldn't come back in. And true to his word, he left, and we went and did our own panel. And I think that really was a really profound moment in our relationship. And then from there, we've retained contact. We talk pretty regularly, and the opportunity comes up, I like to make content with him. But the funny thing is, whenever we do content together, the framing tends to be is there's some criticism of Mr. Girl that's going to be happening. So it's going to be like me saying to him, I think you're a schizo in the not so erudite conversation, or we're going to get people on for 2 hours, which ended up being 7 of people to shit on you. So even though we've got this friendly dynamic, whenever we make content together, it tends to be that there's some criticism of happening. So I quite like that, and I probably, want to continue that. Anyway.
Okay, I want to riff off one thing. So Dr. K. So one thing that I really enjoyed, I even watched all of this because it was super interesting. What was so interesting, and why were you so very passionate about the Dr. K stuff? What was the bread and butter of like why you're like this must be talked about? And you talked about it for like 2 weeks straight, if I'm not wrong.
Well, I think that the weird kind of psychology, therapy type stuff was somewhat compelling to me, and I found that interesting to kind of consume content about that because I wasn't that well educated on it. Now, I'm not really like massively educated on this either, but I've always had like an interest, at least a passing interest, in people who will take bullshit pseudoscientific concepts and push it way further than it should go. So I think the Ayurveda stuff just hit home with me because, I used to kind of be into the atheist stuff, the skeptic stuff, and deep down somewhere there was some sort of influence. And it kind of led to me wanting to talk about it in, more detail and kind of go over it and explain, what I'd found. And I think that, I did a few streams where some might say I was schizo posting, but it was frustrating because I felt I was finding things which are really damning for Dr. K, and people were still defending it. And eventually it was like, what do I have to do to get people to see that this is fucked? And so I started putting a few clips on Twitter, and it felt like somehow there was more of like, oh, okay, yeah, this guy's saying some pretty stupid stuff. Like, this is crazy. And that's when I decided to make like my manifesto video. And yeah, I mean, obviously, I'd be lying if I didn't say that the primary motivation was it was good content and people were watching. That's always going to be, for me, the main motivation. But I think that the fact that he was pushing such obvious bullshit about Ayurveda made me even more interested in talking about it and just demonstrating that, like, hey, this thing he said here, like, it's not based in actual science or data. He's just fucking saying it, you know?
Okay. Somebody online, do you have some questions to ask for Chud?
Yeah, Chud, actually, I'm kind of curious. From my understanding, you tend to have kind of a reputation for approaching positions from a little bit of a different perspective than most folks, and I'm curious about what informs like your convictions when different topics come up. When something's presented to you, like how do you decide how you approach these things and how you feel about these things?
Well, I think because of the influences that I had in coming into the space, I came in with what I would term now as like a kind of leftoid approach, which is that I would kind of be quite biased and I'd lean heavily towards the lefty side. And probably, and bear in mind, I just started streaming. I was brand new to it. I had no qualifications or anything to really do any of this. So some of the things I said and some of the things I believed, I think weren't always thought out in the best way, or I wasn't always considerate of like exploring evidence in the right way or whatever, right? So I think this was probably most profound around the Rittenhouse stuff because I hadn't actually paid much attention to the Rittenhouse Discord when it happened. I couldn't really grasp it because I was like, what, someone shot people in the street? That seems crazy. But then people were arguing about self-defense, and I was like, I don't really understand this. And I don't think I really made any substantive content around the time, like Destiny debated Vosh about it or anything like that. However, when the jury came around and the more details of the case started to come forward, and I was kind of looking into it, I just remember thinking like, this is like fucked up. Like the lefties have got this totally wrong. It seems to me that based on what I'm seeing, based on the trial, based on how things are being laid out here, that Carl Rittenhouse, not only acted in self-defense, but these narratives about him being a white supremacist murderer are like massively overstated and seem to be largely like politically motivated rather than being motivated by a desire to find the truth. So, I kind of looked at it and I watched all the information on stream and I spoke about it and laid out my thoughts. And yeah, like it felt wrong to come to any other conclusion than, this guy, yes, he's an idiot, like he's a young lad, gassed up, fucking with a gun in some crazy situation. But fundamentally, he acted in self-defense. There was destruction of property happening, which is obviously, regardless which way you paint it, not good, not productive. And these narratives that people had spun about this person that was shot by the police and paralyzed also were like not accurate. Like the idea this innocent black man had been gunned down by the police and had been murdered by the police in like the cold light of day. And it's like, that's not what happened at all. Like, obviously it's not ideal when someone gets shot and paralyzed, but like there's a very strong case that the police acted in a way that was, not about just shooting a black guy, but about protecting or defending life. Bearing in mind that I believe it was that there were some kids in the car and he was like, imminently about to drive off with them. The details precisely escape me, but the point is the narrative that was spun around that happening, which then led to the narrative spinning about how what was happening in Kenosha was like a righteous fury, even the extremities of it, then led to the Carl Rittenhouse takes. You kind of really saw in real time how people's conclusions about one event are so bad because their premises are really flawed because they're based on, again, mistruths and misinformation or half truths. So that coverage really gave me like a clear indicator there that, like, I'd noticed it before, particularly with the GameStop stock stuff, but I was like, fuck, there's a lot of people who don't actually care about what the truth is, and they just want to kind of go along with whatever their own side says. And that was kind of crazy to me. And I think, again, I had some sensitivity to it because I'd spent all this time, being something of a leftoid through like late 2019, 2020. And it was only really in 2021 that I think that I really kind of came into my own mindset of like looking at stuff in a bit more detail and being a bit more broad about it, and also being less afraid of saying something that I believe to be true, even though some people might find it controversial,
Yeah, that's actually the next kind of spot that I wanted to go to was you do, interact with these people that are sometimes viewed as relatively controversial. You don't shy away from having conversations with people or expressing opinions that might go against what, the general mainstream of people on the left or people on the right might be saying. Do you seek out like takes that might be viewed as controversial intentionally, or are you just not shy about sharing your takes about particular things? Like, is there like an active seeking for kind of controversial takes, or does it kind of happen by accident?
Well, I think the thing is at the back of my mind, I know now that a controversial take in and of itself, or like a spicy meme or something like that, isn't going to be the end of you, and sometimes can actually benefit you. But I won't ever give a take thinking, oh, this is going to be controversial, I'm going to get loads of attention for this, you know? It's more so that I've got a strong a belief or feeling or whatever about something, and I just kind of want to express that. And I think that that's maybe why people like watching me, is because, you know, there is such a capacity for people to really shy away from truly stating what they think or believe because of fear of social backlash. And I think the thing is, for me, is that when you've been accused of being a fucking groomer, right, the most insane shit you can imagine, really that was probably, in this respect, one of the best things to happen to me, because it really gave me like a sense of protection from, you know, frivolous allegations and accusations. Because once you've been called a groomer, who gives a shit if someone thinks you're racist, you know? Like, it doesn't matter. So I think that the fact that that happened to me really helped me to come to the conclusion that, hey, actually, do you know what? If you've got a strong conviction or belief, you should just say it, because the worst they can do is say that you're something that you're not. And on the one hand, you know, that might have an effect on your reputation. But the thing is you're always going to have people that are going to respect or enjoy the fact that you are willing to have a take that might ruffle a few feathers. You know, and the thing is, my takes aren't even really like super controversial. They just sometimes go against what the kind of leftoid narrative on something is, which obviously online can be a cardinal sin. People, I mean, I've had people like that are watching my stream, and I give a take that doesn't immediately conform with their perception of how the world is, and it's like, oh, I'm leaving. I can't believe you're saying this. I'm leaving. So, you know, it gets to the point where it's like, yeah, like I want to you know, it's the right thing to do to honestly state what you believe. It's wrong to be dishonest about that, to kind of cater to viewers or try and like solicit viewers or something like that. But yeah, I mean, I just
Is
feel
that why
like
you abuse Brittany?
I abuse Brittany because it's funny and she's a woman, and you know, she's blonde. So I don't know how much she counts as a human.
Well, that's
Actually,
fair. I can account that she is not. She is less than human, and Chud does beat her. I've seen the wounds.
to that point, is there any, you know, situations or you know, entanglements that you've been involved in over your career here in the sphere that you wish you would have approached a little bit differently or handled differently, or things would have turned out differently for you? I mean, other than obviously the allegations we talked about earlier.
What do you mean in terms of how things kind of played out, or like my take on it? Or sorry, I don't understand. What do you
But
mean?
generally speaking, do you have any regrets, or if you could go back and handle things any differently or start things any differently, do you think you would have approached anything, you know, in the relatively recent span differently?
Sure. So I think that, I mean, it's difficult because the things that I think I would change also brought about some of my best content. So it's like, so an example will be the Dr. K arc, right? There were definitely times at which I could have moderated what I was saying. I mean, it's difficult in the moment when you're emotional about things. You know, people are pissing you off in chat or whatever. But I definitely could have taken a calm approach and kind of laid out my positions in a more reasonable way to hopefully, you know, maybe convince more people or whatever. But the problem with that is me going fucking schizo mode on Dr. K is just, I look back on it and think, yeah, that was some good ass content, you know, arguing with book smarts about it, you know, getting pissed off with people in chat, you know, whatever the case may be. I think that really brought about some really fantastic kind of content that people really engaged with, and it helped me grow. So I don't know. I mean, I'm not saying that I'm always perfect, and there's definitely times where, you know, I've maybe got takes sort of wrong somewhere, or I've, you know, maybe rehashed my position or rethought my position and it's changed. But in terms of how I present it and the kind of content that I make and stuff like that, it's like I don't know if I could change something without taking something essential away from whatever the content is, and therefore it being less appealing or less entertaining to people, you know?
Sure, no, that
Yeah,
makes
that
perfect sense.
yeah that makes sense.
My kind of final question, if you don't mind. I've always wondered about this. Who the heck is this person that you portray yourself as, especially if he's going away soon?
What do you mean?
This avatar, the gentleman with the green eyes, is this a particular individual? Where'd you find him?
Okay, I can tell you a story. So, oh my god, it's kind of crazy to think about. Basically, when I started off on Facebook as a left book kind of poster. So these basically left leaning groups that would post about politics. You'd have some that were maybe a bit edgier, some that were a bit more soy, and so on. I wanted to set up a Facebook page called Things Reactionaries Unironically Believe. Okay, that was the meme. And through kind of looking at it, I thought, well, I want to have the face of someone on the right to mock or something. And basically, I came across this guy, Joseph de Maistre. That's the person in the photo. They were probably the original reactionary thinker. Sorry, one sec. And yeah, basically, it just seemed like a good meme. Do you know what I mean? It just seemed like a good meme to have the original reactionary thinker as, the reactionary person in my profile picture. And then when I went to set up Twitter, I realized that Things Reactionaries I don't want to believe wouldn't fit in a Twitter name. So I changed my name to Chud Logic, and my content was originally more sort of rightoid, chud dunking, etc. But I feel as time's moved on, the name's kind of changed from being what it's meant to be to just when people think Chud Logic, they think of me, generally speaking. Do you know what I mean? So it's become a kind of a term of my name for me, and it's really moved away from its original meaning. But I think that the glowing eyes Joseph de Maistre still presents a really strong brand image, and it's unlikely that I'd ever change that, really.
I like it. I mean, it's very unique. It is very on brand. I mean, it's who you are. Why are his eyes green, though?
Okay, so yeah, there's a story behind this. Basically, there's a thing online where you can put glowing eyes on photos, right? And
yeah, sure.
basically, the none of them worked, right? I never liked any of them. The red ones didn't work. The other colors didn't work. I was like, "Now this isn't working for me," right? And then I found the little green ones, and I was like, "Yeah, this looks pretty cool." And that's literally it. Literally, I put the green eyes on. I thought, "Hey, this looks pretty cool." And since then, that's been my image. And you can go back and check the I've never recreated it. It's always based off the original image that I did whenever I use it, which is saved on the device I've got somewhere probably. But yeah, it's just as simple as that. The green eyes look best is basically what it is.
Pretty funny, actually. So I kind of have we were talking about your relationship with Mr. Girl. There's one who is someone who is a lot newer upon this platform. Someone that you've helped really prop up and kind of put under your wing is Rhizome. Rhizome is a fairly new content creator who came along who has praised you for all the help that you've given him. What kind of what drew you to Rhizome, and why were you I want this guy to have a large part of my community? I want him to be a big thing and stuff like that. What was the reason for that?
Basically, that came about because the reason because Rhizome had watched my stuff, but I think maybe he was more of a lurker. I'm not sure. I didn't even realize he made content before this, but he had this debate with the San, and it was during the Cracker discourse, which is again another arc that I had, which was kind of really impactful on my channel. And he debated Hassan, and it was damn, this is one of the first people Hassan has debated in a little while. And it was damn, this guy's actually pretty based. He's got some interesting takes. I really liked kind of the way he kind of was reasoning things out and stuff like that. So anyway, I watched his debate, and he then I think watched the debate, and then I think he came on and spoke to me, and I just I got this kind of vibe, and I was like, yeah, this guy seems like he's pretty switched on and stuff like that. And then we just started talking in DMs, and it was clear that he was kind of looking to get somewhere, and he was looking to make something of himself in this space. And to me, I've always got respect for people, even if they're a 3-viewer Andy at the time, whatever they are. I've always got respect for people who have got a bit of savvy, who have got a bit of insight, and who put out a good product, right? And I kind of started to like look at Ryzen stuff a little bit, and I was like, damn, this guy is fucking switched on. He's got some great emotes. He's got a great backdrop. You know, he's covering like good content. He's got like the hunger for it. He clearly wants to go somewhere with this. And yeah, it was kind of organic that through conversation, it just became that like, you know, I would kind of help him out where I can. And the thing is like, you know, it's a bit, I try not to make a big deal out of it normally because it's kind of cringe to be like, you know, I helped you out all this stuff, because it was just organic, you know? And if anyone comes to me and they've got like something to offer that's different or fresh or unique or whatever it is, you know, I'm always willing to kind of do what I can to kind of help them out. And I think Ryzen just gets a lot of things right in his content and in his stream. And there's just been other dramas that he's been involved in that, again, I just think he's had some really good takes on and he's kind of dealt with really well. You know, so yeah, I just think that over time, organically, I just really kind of came to like, you know, really appreciate kind of what he's doing and his vision. And yeah, like I say, anyone that's kind of got the hunger and is willing to put in a bit of effort, that's always something where I'm going to have an interest in if I can, like helping them out, you know?
Yeah, I 100% respect that. So one thing that we've been seeming to have a problem with, as far as people who react annies, people who review things, is the lack of content. With the hippy dippy now no longer going to be happening, with all these other content creators getting banned off Twitch poll, like, is it become a lot harder to like have like daily streams, to have like good content to watch and stuff like that? Has that become more difficult for you, or in your opinion?
So I'd say yes. I think the issue is that there's a multitude of factors that are coming into play. So Destiny getting banned has had an impact, which has led on to a lot of other things being impacted. I think like I went on a panel the other day and I was kind of, you know, I spoke much more harshly about this the other day, but I feel like there's like a lack of people who really understand or know how to make content that people actually want to watch. Like people don't want to watch six dudes sit on their fucking soapbox soying out about fucking, you know, men's shit, right? People want to see contention. People want to see friction. People want to see personalities clash against each other. People want to hear a panel and be like, oh shit, those two people are on it. Damn, this is going to be fucking great. Like, you know, I remember when like Destiny and Lecture Fan are going on a panel together. That's going to be some fucking content, right? That was the kind of vibe and mentality that we used to have. And I feel that's really dropped off. And I think it's because, for whatever reason, there are some new content creators that are coming through that just don't, like, it's like kind of Danabo said, they take a while to figure it out, and they takes a while for them to get kind of what's going on here. And I've got no idea why it is exactly. And I just think that that's, you know, another issue too, is we just don't have the kind of same talent that we used to have coming through, making really compelling content that would lead to reactions and stuff like that. Now, with Andrew Tate coming on and all this drama over the last few days, I think it demonstrates that it is still possible for, you know, content to come about and drama to happen and things like that. But it feels like we're kind of relying a lot more on the top end of streamers and the biggest content creators to actually bring about the most compelling memes and content that happen. So I think, to be honest with you, it is harder, but I think it is still possible to find things to talk to and react to that actually are interesting and are good content. And obviously, you know, that's besides when I might have like there might be some news event that happens and I have an ad hoc panel. I mean, I've not done one of those in a while in the way I used to, but stuff like that can be good. And in fact, one thing I've kind of come to the realization of is I could probably get a better panel together out of my own Discord than out of like inviting other Twitch politics streamers that are in this space now. You know, on the whole, I think that there's, when people, like, you need to balance it. I mean, the other day I had someone come in and play some gay porn, which was, you know, a fuck up on my part, but I think you need to balance it in terms of like, people just from Discord have got nothing to lose, right? The optics concern is going to be far less. They're not going to be as worried about saying something bad and getting clipped. Getting a bunch of people into fucking schizo posts for 2 hours, you know, within reason, obviously, is probably going to bring about far greater content and far more interesting dynamics than a bunch of soy boys who are so concerned about, how they appear and so concerned about having a productive conversation that they just end up doing a fucking circle jerk, passing stick conversation for 2 hours and no one wants to fucking watch it.
Speaking about your server, so there's been recent things that I've heard and that we've seen about your so-called spicy chat within your server that seems to be causing a lot of headache and like little drama within its own community. What the fuck is going on with spicy chat and within your community?
So basically, I can explain the whole story. It's really simple. People misunderstand what happened, but I'll lay it out, okay? Now, since my server started in around December 2019, it always used to be, particularly the mods I had and the kind of culture we cultivated there, it was always a very kind of soy. That's the easy way I can think of describing it. But, a very kind of leftoid perspective. If someone's got the wrong opinion, we should ban them. Things like that, basically. So I feel like there was a time, and I made some bad mistakes with who I modded. So it's created a really kind of like a culture that some people did warn me about, to be fair, at the time. But yeah, basically, it really kind of cultivated like this really kind of like suffocating atmosphere, I guess is the way you'd put it. It was a kind of suffocating atmosphere that as long as you had the right opinions, you could say what you want and be as edgy as you liked and say, edgy shit potentially. But if you got the wrong opinions, you're probably going to get banned. And, I think I was kind of really dissatisfied. I was really fucking dissatisfied with how the server was. So I kind of distanced myself from it quite a bit, like quite significantly, to the point where I just wasn't really posting in it anymore. And I just kind of used it for announcements and stuff like that. And then my drama hit, and all of a sudden, all of these leftoids that made the server quite shit left. They were all gone. So it was kind of like, a new dawn in the Discord, I guess. Now, there was obviously so for example, as time went on, especially as I kind of became more ingratiated with other kind of, like say, Destiny's community, and my clips got posted on his subreddit and more people started coming in, it created this friction because there was still a kind of, an old guard hanging on, which had these kind of more leftoid tendencies, which found the use of words like retard to be extremely bad and bannable, versus people that were coming in that wanted like a bit more flexibility. They didn't necessarily want to just be like racist or something, but they wanted to be able to cut loose, and as long as it wasn't an excessive break of the rules, they wanted to be able to say a few more naughty words or whatever, right? And also, I think to have conversations, this is probably the bigger thing as well, just to have conversations that weren't sort of stifled by the idea that, oh, this is a bad conversation to have because someone might get upset by it, so we've got to put a stop to this, So I was on a stream one day and I was talking about this issue. People were using retard and getting timed out, and I thought, well, I don't really care if people use the word retard, so it feels a bit wrong to like punish people for that. And what I came up with is, let's just split the server so that you've got one section, like one chat, where people can cut a bit more loose. We had a rule that was like, don't be toxic essentially to each other. If people want to be toxic, that's not against the rules. Let people be a bit more toxic. Let people be a bit more hostile. Let people say a few more no-no words, and let people have a broader conversation, even about topics that were like offensive or whatever, right? So that's how spicy chat came about. And it's kind of annoying because when I get asked about it, it's kind of a meme of like, oh, you just set up a channel because you wanted people to be able to say the word retard. And it's like, maybe that's somewhat true, but that wouldn't be an issue if the kind of soys that say that weren't so fucking soy about people saying retard in the first place, And there was one mod in particular that like had hung around since the old days, and they only ever seemed to interact with my server to like lay down the law and tell people off for like, saying this or that that's bad apparently. And they've now left the server. But yeah, it was really fucking annoying. And then, after a while, I decided, right, let's start to, put some of the bricks in place here to really make this Discord better, beef up the mod team a bit, give more clarity about what I want to see and how it's run and how it's managed and moderated and stuff like that. And so we had like a bit of a kind of, ecosystem change, a small ecosystem change at least, that basically kind of led me to just kind of not beef up the rules, but just amend the rules a little bit to make it a bit clearer about, like, if you're basically just being an idiot and you're ruining spicy chat, we're going to remove you from it, if not from the server, from spicy chat, and just kind of like, making it a bit more clear about what the situation was. Do you see what I mean? But yeah, I think that the reality is that although there was a few teething issues, now the server is probably in the best place it's been for, like, probably ever. I think it's very active. You can get the different types of conversations you want. If you want something a bit softer and a bit less in your face, you can go to general chat. If you are willing to have a little bit of shit thrown your way, maybe see a couple of words you might not like, or have a topic discussed that you find uncomfortable, you can go to spicy chat. We still moderate based on, like, the Discord TOS as closely as possible. And yeah, I think that we've now created a space which is like its own ecosystem, to the point now where there's even drama that's generated from within itself that's nothing to do with me. And that also means sometimes if that drama is of interest, I can actually turn it into content on stream. So even though some people complain about it and say, oh, I think your Discord's bad now, the way I see it, it's probably the best it's ever been in terms of being not just like a place where I go and I'm starting my stream, but an actual, in and of itself, like, part of my community, and it's the place I go most if I want to, like, talk to people or just meme a bit. I'll go to my Discord and meme and talk to people and stuff like that, and I feel a lot more comfortable in there to do that now because it's more aligned to me and my content in terms of what I think and feel about the world and what I think and feel about free speech or whatever it is, rather than a bunch of fucking soy mods ruining the place by telling people off for saying retard when I don't really care about that.
Yeah, fuck you, Hydra. But so you're pretty much saying that, like, spicy chat's not going anywhere. Like, it's not going anywhere anytime soon, and no matter how many people read or scream about it.
Well, no, because here's the great thing about it, right? If you don't like spicy chat, you don't have to participate. There was some little fucking soy bitch who used to be in my server loads back in the day that was, like, complaining about me for not stopping transphobia, and apparently I was a terrible person for allowing transphobia to be discussed in the Discord. They even fucking DM'd me about it. And it's like, if someone is saying a slur at someone or something like that, sure, like, we'll moderate that. But if you're just uncomfortable about people having difficult conversations about trans issues, then the place is just not for you. And this is the thing that's annoying, I find, about these fucking leftoid idiots, is they want every space to accommodate them. They want to come in and they want the space to mold around them and be to whatever desire or needs that they've got. And at the end of the day, you've got fucking tons of lefty Discord servers that will ban you for calling fucking someone stupid probably or something like that, right? There's so many Discord servers that are soft and fluffy. I mean, the reason they probably want it soft and stuff is because it's like the inside of a padded cell, like the kind of thing they go to when they go to a fucking insane asylum. But anyway, that's besides the point. They can have the space elsewhere, right? If you don't like the space that we've created, that's fine. You don't have to participate, okay? Every other part of the server is for you. We've got very stringent rules in place. You're not allowed to say retard. People still get timed out for that. You're not allowed to, like, do a whole bunch of stuff. Like, if you're toxic or if anything, got much harsher rules. But there's just one place in the server that is optional now. You have to opt in to get into it, okay? If you don't want to see what's in there, don't fucking join it. Fuck off. Go somewhere else. Leave my server. Post in general chat, okay? The spicy chat community now is one of the best parts of my Discord. So I'm really pleased that we've got it. It's not going anywhere. And if anyone's got any complaints, they can fuck off.
Alrighty. What, in your mind, is your spiciest take? The fucking nuclear take of Chud Logic. What is, in your mind, your hottest take?
Damn. Do you know what? When someone asks me a question that direct, and it's like, think of a specific thing to say, I find it difficult to concept. I don't know what it is. I just find it difficult to say what that is. I mean, damn, what is the spiciest take I've got?
Well, when we asked Rhizome this, his was antinatalism. Like, that was what he's considered his hottest take.
Well, okay. I guess, in terms of like an offensive take or something that would offend people or something, maybe I could think of something, that's spicy or something. But I think my spiciest take, and the one that probably has the most controversy in the grand scheme of things, is when I talk about how these platforms are not for politics. You're not going to build a political movement out of it. They're for entertainment and they're for content. And I feel like the reason that's my spiciest take is because not that it's particularly offensive, not that it's particularly like, insulting to people or something like that, but people have really bought into the idea, right, that this is somewhere where you can come and do politics. And me just coming along and saying, no, I don't think so. I think you got that wrong. I think it really fucking upsets people and they don't like it. Because if you think about it, if someone's giving money to a political streamer and they've fucking, coat themselves to the point where they think that they're supporting a serious political movement, and someone comes along and says, no, that's not actually what's happening here. I think it, really causes people to, yeah, I don't know. I mean, I feel like I'm not giving a spicy take, but also I feel if I just give you like a spicy take that's like got a tinge of racism or something, it's just kind of like obvious, isn't it?
Yeah, that's fair. So I have two more questions for you. So what do you think the future is for Twitch Bowl, and then what's the next thing for Chud Logic's content?
I think we desperately need, this is something I've been talking about a lot recently. We need more people to come through to break the back of the fucking boring ass soy shit, the circle jerks, the talking stick panels. We need people to come on that are willing to have bold takes or willing to engage in a way that is at least entertaining, right? So if anyone is out there that is listening to this and you've ever had a hint of making content, the likelihood is you've got at least a microphone. I think I'm at least somewhat something you can point to say that that's all you really need, and a somewhat reasonable computer. Make content. I have so many people that come in and they say, "Oh, Chud, I don't. It's almost like you're not reacting to this in the way that I want." And I just think, well, if you think my reaction to this isn't sufficient, or I'm not angry enough for you, you set up a fucking channel. And this is something I've always said to anyone that's ever tried to almost say to me, you're not doing what I want you to do it the way I want, is like, do it yourself. There's no barrier to entry, essentially. As long as you've got a microphone, a camera probably is I recommended, even though I don't use one, you're good to go. Set up a Twitch account, right? Start streaming. Yeah, you've probably got a Twitter account. Put, hey, I'm live, I'm talking about this today. Yeah, stream 3 hours a day, 3 times a week, and see if you like it or not, okay? If you have done a few streams and you're looking to get yourself out there, go and speak to Prime. I'm sure you could get on one of Prime's open panels, no trouble. Get yourself out there to 100 people probably. Go from there. Like, give it a go and see what happens. You got to have the hunger and you got to be willing to put some effort in. But if you do, you could well find yourself in a position where you're someone that is wanted on panels. You're someone that people want to speak to. Maybe you do have a kind of perspective that's a bit different, or maybe you do have an interesting way of engaging that people don't, always come to the table with. So yeah, I'm a big advocate for if you think you can do it, give it a fucking go. Don't let anything hold you back. All I did is, eventually, it took me a while, but I got a mic, set up a Twitch account, plugged it in, and talked for 3 hours about what I thought was funny. I was nervous as fuck. Some of the content I look back on and cringe at, but I did it, and it really is that simple. Is just get it set up and go live. And what's the worst that can happen? So yeah, I just think that the future for me is reliant on people who want to see this become something, or retain something, or whatever you think, coming to the table and going, I'm going to give this a go too. And it's something that I feel like we're really sorely lacking at the moment. In terms of the future of my content, I've had a bit of a downturn in terms of viewers over the past couple of months. But again, peaks and troughs are part of the job. So we're on a bit of an upturn this month. We'll see what happens over the next few months. I'm just going to continue doing what I know works, which is finding interesting drama to talk about. discussing political issues when they're interesting, and I think I've got a take that is a bit different. And just trying to approach things with a framework that doesn't just, agree with the political side just because I'm on it. Yeah. I think the other thing I'm kind of thinking about is how I can make a panel show as low effort for me to do as possible. So I don't have to invest much time in it, but it can be interesting and good. And I think there's something in having like an ad hoc panel where people from my community can hop on and discuss and dissect whatever the issue of the day is. So I don't know how it's going to work or something, but I feel like we are in a position now where we're really fucking lacking like decent panels to a high degree. So we need something out there that's going to bring about some content, and that could well be it.
Yeah, when me and Prime are the only two panel shows, you know it's bad.
I mean, listen, I was actually got on my list to watch your political shit show about Twitch politics. I think that the problem is there isn't a volume of them now, and you've got fucking morons like Charmhole that are trying to set up a panel, and because he's either an idiot or a memer, he's got no idea what he's doing, so his product is fucking shit, and no one wants to watch it. And if that's the people that are coming to the fore, like we are potentially a bit screwed. So we need just anything that's going to get people in front of people talking about stuff. The more schizo, the better.
Yeah. Those are all the questions I have for you. Somebody online, do you have any more questions for Chud Logic?
I think that we've touched bases on just about everything. I do want to thank Chud very much for his time and for exploring some of these things and exposing some of these. I'm really excited for this face reveal that's coming up. Man, oh man.
Yes.
Now,
I want to do something, a bit different. I don't know. It's probably going to be a bit of a meme, but yeah, I want to do something exciting with the face reveal. I don't just want to turn my camera on and there I am. I want to do something.
Now, Chud, you want to talk about the CTV stuff, if I'm not incorrect?
Well, okay, I'll put each other this. So I watched you talk to Kid Not Kin the other day, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, I don't know the conversation seemed to be like a kind of somewhat casual conversation about CTV. But when I watched it, you were making claims, and I didn't really feel like you did much to substantiate, if anything, substantiate the claims you were making. You were kind of just saying your version of what had happened, and I believe some of the events you weren't even there, and you didn't kind of supply any screenshots. Not that Kid Not Kin asked you to, but I was just wondering, do you have any evidence or anything to kind of back up the claims you were making about what happened with CTV?
I do, and I need to put context with certain things. When I had this conversation with Kid Not Kin, the people who were involved, because I was kind of there, I was lingering. I was having conversations with the people who were involved because they were highly involved in my community. And CTV was also having direct conversations with me while this was also happening within his community. So what had happened was I was talking to Kid Not Kin, and certain people who were involved were like, "Yeah, I don't want to leak DMs. I don't want any part of this, so on and so forth." They're pretty much like, "No, I don't want to give you anything." So I kind of had to just go off what I knew and what they had told me and stuff like that. That's kind of what I had to go off of. And when Rhizome had covered it, it seemed to kind of open the floodgates a little bit that certain people were willing to relinquish certain parts of DMs and stuff like that. The issue with this drama, it's really fucking slimy. And it's full of people who are all fucking liars. And that's so I'm gonna make this very clear. Once talk about it here, I'm done talking about it. Because I did a lot of digging the past 48 to like 72 hours on it, and it's full of liars, and it's just a really gross thing. So I'm gonna send you two things.
Wait. Sorry, when you say it's full of liars, you seemed very certain when you were talking about it. So are you now saying that some of the claims that you made were based on people lying to you? Am I understanding that correctly?
Certain things that I had said were incorrect because the people who had told this to me didn't give me the full truth. So
Cool.
I had a conversation with CTV this morning, and we had a discussion about it, and more things were provided to me with more context. So,
Okay.
so these are the main things that I think, and I kind of have to supply the show that I think that CTV did wrong. A man in his community died called Colonel Dan, right? And a group of people within his server decided to throw a memorial for Colonel Dan. While they were working on it, CTV decided that he wanted to take control of it. And his community was like, well, you can help, but like, we're all kind of doing this and we've already been working on this. And he was like, nope, I'm taking control. And I am now going to let me grab some DMs for you and I'll send it to you to kind of show this.
Because I
So
just want to ask, sorry, just a quick question. Do you remember when Big Papa Fascist came onto my stream and made allegations about you?
I do.
Okay. How did you feel about that when that happened?
That was a fucking, those were, I don't know. It was definitely a surprise.
Hmm.
How did I feel? I don't know. Confused, I think is the right word for it.
Hmm. Because the reason I referenced that is, I just remember the Big Papa Fascist came on and, people were defending you, and the defense was the basis of that Big Papa Fascist didn't provide any evidence or didn't really have anything substantive to prove the allegations he was making. So I find it interesting that despite having this experience, it seems like you were at least somewhat willing to kind of do. I mean, it's not as bad, I guess, because you're not accusing CTV of grooming or something. But in terms of the principle, you're willing to go on a stream and make big claims about stuff which you're now saying you were lied to and you've not represented correctly. Like, do you not see that's like a big issue?
I do agree that I should have 100% looked more into this. The majority of things that I still said upon Kid Not Kin stream, I would still stand by, even
Okay.
with the information I was given. But there were key certain things that were incorrect.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I'll look at the evidence you send and we'll see what we got. But I mean, because I don't know. I mean, when I covered it, I was like, there's no real screenshots or anything. Like, I got a few screenshots from Rhizome that gave me some insight that maybe the conversation was fractious. But, I guess what I'd ask then, because some people here would have seen your coverage or you're discussing it. What do you think you got wrong in the conversation originally?
The one thing, hold on, let me send you this real quick. Yeah. Sorry about that. Okay. So the one thing that I got incorrect that was given to me is that I was told by several people, not just by one, but by several people, that there was a conversation that happened in VC with Colonel Dan's nephew. And what I was told is that CTV had a conversation with this nephew, and while having this conversation, his nephew had gave certain bits of advice. CTV didn't take it and pretty much put it as, I'm doing it this way and I'm not changing things. And from what I was told, his nephew and the wife of Colonel Dan had stepped away because of the poor behavior of CTV. That part, I don't know if it's true, because when I pushed, certain people who told me on this, their story changed, and I was sent things that said things kind of prior to that. So I don't know if it's true. So I have to assume it's not, because the people, when I pushed them on it more, were hyper inconsistent on what they said. So
Yeah. Okay.
that's the one thing that I should have not done. I shouldn't have said that, because when I was told by like 3 or 4 different people who were like, I knew were involved, I'm like, okay, so they're probably telling the truth. And I shouldn't have done that. That was something I should not have done. So I'll own on that one. The part where I'm still standing by is he comes in to take control of this memorial. And the biggest thing to me is that he comes in and says, look, he takes a core of people and says, okay, we're going to do this like stream But what I want you to do is, we're not going to tell anybody about Colonel Dan's death. We're going to wait, get all these streamers together, and then tell them that Colonel Dan dies, that Colonel Dan died, and then it'll be caught on stream, and it'll be better this way. That's the part that felt scummy to me. And the second one I sent you, I had to clip part of it out because it has personal shit about CTV's family that I don't think you would like to get leaked. So that is a response to the nephew of Colonel Dan, where he says that, like, we must keep this unspoken and let's not talk about it and let's get the people on stream and stuff like that. It seems odd to me if someone dies in your community that you're gonna, like, you have to keep it a secret and then you want to get their reactions live on stream. That seems real fucking odd.
Okay, I mean, again, the way you're referring to it is that, you know, that might well like seem odd to you, but I mean, it seems like that's a far step removed from what you were saying originally. Like, there was a narrative about how CTV was kind of like malicious, well, not maliciously, but he was to his own end wanting to monetize this person's death by doing a stream about them. Like, do you still agree with that characterization?
Yes, I will. And I still think that he was trying to do that in some fashion. I think that with the DMs I sent, it still seems that tracks. And even though a lot of the conversations were sadly deleted within general, and those were lost, I can't back those up. There was a lot lost within it, sadly, because when he deleted a server, a lot of the evidence is therefore gone. But what I do have, and then within conversations that I had with CTV, he did seem very, every time I would ask him, like, why did you want to have this on stream? Why did you want to keep it a secret? He was just all over the place and he didn't answer. And that's the part where it leads me to believe, and other people who were in that community also have come to this conclusion, that that's what he was trying to do, because it doesn't make any sense why he wanted to also, like, want to do this stream. Like, it has to be done like in a week, because that's one of the things he wanted to do. They said that they were going to do the memorial in 1 month, and CTV said, no, we're going to do it in 1 week, and then we're going to keep it a secret, and then bring all the panelists and have all these people on, and then catch the reaction on stream. Either he's super content brained, or I don't fucking know. But that's where I would.
Okay, because right. The thing is let me just kind of, I guess, lay my cards on the table somewhat with this. I think that I am in agreement with the idea that CTV did this Nazi pride meme thing, and people were pissed off with him, and he kind of doubled and tripled down. And I think he burnt through a lot of goodwill with people. I mean, I saw conversations that were happening. You know, he got to the point where he was denying that it was like a Nazi thing, but then he deleted the tweet that he tweeted at IRI when IRI pointed out he was kind of Jewish. You know, why would you do that if you didn't think it was a swastika thing? And it's all based on what the person sees. Like, there's actions that he took that I think you could reasonably come to the conclusion of that you know, adhere to this narrative of, you know, he'd done this thing, people were pissed off with him, you know, and so on. But I think from there, I mean, because the thing is, I don't know what the truth is of what happened in these Discord calls and what this Colonel Dan thing is. But the problem I've got is I've not seen anything to substantiate even what you're saying now, in that he's trying to like monetize it or something like that. I mean, what is it that you think these messages are showing us that I've got on the screen now? Rumpelstiltskin.
The Rumpelstiltskin ones are messages that he was having where CTV was trying to take control of it. So that's the first one. It's him trying to take control of the Colonel Dan Memorial and kind of try to do it his way. Then the second one is him talking about how we need to keep it like a secret, and how we need to get everyone together to have this panel on it and like keep it unspoken and stuff like that. That's the one that I'm kind of basing it off of. You know, that's the only DM that I can show that kind of shows that. And then there are conversations that CTV had that when I had spoke to him, he had said similar things that were really suspicious about that. and then so on and so forth. But the hard part is a lot of these things did happen in VCs. I don't record calls because that's scummy, and then a lot of the other stuff was lost. So there is a lack of evidence to show, and that's part of the reason why I'm saying I'm gonna like.
But then no wait, because you're but this young there's a lack of evidence. I mean, I'm scanning through this DM, and I mean, this demonstrates that CTV was looking to like take somewhat of control over proceedings. It seems like his logic is that Colonel Dan used his Discord and the Wolfpack stuff, you know, in his own content. So it's kind of like a, you know, the right place to do it. I don't know. I don't know if this proves anything beyond, you know, CTV felt a sense of ownership, seemingly felt a sense of ownership over this and wanted to kind of host it on his own server because that's where Colonel Dan frequented it. You're still putting a lot onto what you've provided in order to come to your conclusion, because there's nothing in this whatsoever that tells me that CTV was trying to like monetize this or do it for its own gain. I mean, where did the proceeds go to from this? Did the stream happen at all?
To my knowledge, the people who were working on it originally branched away from CTV and branched completely away from its community before the server being deleted, and did their own stream about it.
Okay, so CTV wasn't involved in it at all.
No, because they believed that like CTV was like he was just being malicious with his intent, that he was trying to monetize it, and that like he was directly trying to take control. And he was. I had a conversation with CTV this morning, and he
okay,
did.
but wait, sorry. Just because someone is trying to take control of something doesn't, in and of itself, means they're trying to monetize it in some way, right?
Sure, but
so where are you getting that from? Why are you saying that?
Yeah, I can explain that. So when he tries to take control of it, he says that he wants to speed the process up to get this on stream, because they're telling him we're going to do a memorial in 1 month because they want to do this big grand thing. And he goes, nope, I want to do it in 1 week. And CTV confirmed this, like I said, in a conversation I had with him. And that to me is the first part. The second part to it is the whole secret part. We have to keep it a secret and then get all the friends together who don't know their friend is dead. And it has to be on stream and they can't know, because they had separate group chats to keep it a secret. That way it didn't leak into the actual public Discord, because he wanted to keep it this big grand secret.
And this is what the second message shows.
Yes. Of him that was him talking to the nephew of Colonel Dan.
Okay, I mean, it's just that looking at this, the conclusion I would come to, and obviously, you know, all I can go is off of this which you've sent me, is that it seems to me that what's more likely is that CTV wanted to do this memorial stream. The Wolfpack was where this Dan guy frequented, so it made sense to do it there. He wanted to keep it kind of a secret so he could create something that was kind of like, you know, of value to the people that cared about him or something. I don't really know exactly, but I mean, I just think this paints a narrative of CTV being like kind of conscientious and trying to create something that was right, rather than him being like a money grabbing person trying to stuff his own pockets. And I'd need to see more in order to come to that conclusion. But it feels like when you speak about this, you're gesturing things which I will never be able to see or hear. Like, I spoke to CTV about this. That's great, but I mean, there's nothing I can do with that, right? You see
Right.
what I
No,
mean?
I understand that. And that's the problem, is with CTV taking his leave, the server being deleted, and the family wanting absolutely nothing to do with this, there is a lack of evidence. And I completely understand that. That is one of the things that I had said when I talked to Kid Not Ken. When we're talking, I said, you know, I should go and dig more into this. And that was like that was the whole thing about it, is I was like, I need to dig more into this to find this information.
Do you think it's right to make claims about someone that suggests that they're, you know, trying to profit off a man's death without adequate evidence to prove that? Do you think that's a good thing to do?
Not offhand, no.
Well, then why did you do it?
So the reason I did it is when I was watching this unfold, that I saw a lot of scummy behavior that was on CTV's part on how he wanted to handle this, that seemed to me that he was trying to monetize in some capacity on a man's death. Now, he may not believe that, because if I was to be hyper charitable to him, maybe he believes that like he's not doing that and he just thinks this is a better process to do it. And maybe that was his mindset. But it seems really odd to me that he would do it in that fashion. And when people will push him on it, he gets really weird about it, about like how he handled it. So that's the reason I made the accusation of that. It seems to me that that is a thing that he had done.
Okay, listen, Alexa, listen, I'm going to be honest with you, okay? I think that you like drama and you like being involved in drama. And with this, you felt like you could be a centerpiece of this story, and you made yourself the centerpiece when you spoke to Kid Not Kin. And you're not actually that interested in the truth of what happened. You're more interested in, you know, what's going to help your profile and your presence online.
I mean, it's no secret that I do like drama, but this isn't the reason that like I'm like all in on this one. That's again the reason why I'm saying that like I don't really want to like continually talk about it, because there is a lack of evidence, and like I understand that.
Okay, yeah. I mean, I just, you know, it's obviously up to you how you conduct yourself. I just find it so odd that you've had this experience of someone talking about you without evidence, and you're going to do the same thing to someone else. Like, that's crazy to me. Because I personally, after my grooming shit, I was like, fuck, like, this is terrible. I wouldn't, you know, want to do this to someone else. So I try and approach this kind of stuff quite cautiously. But you're just off there saying, you know, CTV's trying to profit off a man's death with, as you admit yourself, not enough evidence to demonstrate that. It's crazy to me.
Yeah, I have no like direct like DM stuff like that. I can only give what I've seen, and then things off, you know, my own word, and then someone else's word who has been honest about the whole thing, and they also don't want to be involved. So I fully understand that it optically doesn't look great.
Sure. I mean, listen, my recommendation would just be like, you know, I think it's okay to speculate about things if you want to. That's fine. I mean, I sometimes might speculate about something. I think that it might just be better sometimes to just be a bit more clearer. You know, can't really prove this, or I don't have evidence for this, but this is what I believe. Because the way you were telling the story, it was almost like, you know, this is how it went down. Do you see what I mean? And it's kind of not going to end well if it turns out that people have lied to you and stuff like that. You just end up with kind of egg on your face, you know?
Yeah, I definitely agree that like when I taught the Kid Not Kin, I should have done more digging and stuff like that, and that's
Yeah.
on me. That's my fault. It's something I should have done.
Okay. Okay, cool. I mean, that's mainly what I wanted to talk about with the CTV stuff. I mean, you said you spoke to him earlier. Is that right? Is he
Yeah,
like back taking conversations?
Yeah, he had called me at random. I didn't call him. He had called me in the morning of today and was asking, you know, do I believe this? And then we had a conversation on why I had came to this conclusion. And when I had showed him why I think that he possibly was trying to gain some kind of monetary gain off of his death, he admitted that like how he worded things was very poor. That wasn't his intention. And like, and then he gave me this whole like grand roundabout story to pretty much get to the point where he was like, in his mind, this was a better way to tell his family, not his family, but his friends and stuff in the community, was to keep it a secret and then bring them all at one time on stream, and then tell them at once on stream, then to tell them privately, or just do a random like VC announcement. That's what he said to me.
Okay. Well, yeah. I mean, you know, I don't know if CTV would listen to this or anything. I'd like to talk to CTV and get some more insight from him on stream. But I mean, I suppose are there other people that are willing to come and talk about this, or I mean, what's the situation there?
That's the problem. Is the people like the family wants nothing to do with it, which is completely understandable. every other person, from what I was told, after talking to CTV, is that the people who are directly involved are possibly going to do their own stream to like leak everything. So I don't know if that's going to happen, but that is what they said to me. I have no idea when that is. I know that personally said Preacher was going to be involved and several other people, and they were going to like go over it and like release all of this stuff.
Well, I mean that'll be good when that does happen. Yeah. Okay. Well, yeah. Like I say, sorry. Go on.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say because a lot of it was that like DMs were sent to me, tons and tons of DMs, and I'm like, can I show these? And they were like, no, and it's like fuck. Like that's a lot of the problem is that I was sent things that, in my opinion, kind of show more about certain things, but they don't want me to show it, and I'm not going to do that, right? But there is more information. I can't give it. Sadly, I just can't. It's because the people who are involved are like, no, I don't want you to leak this, so on and so forth. It puts me in like a real big fucking bind, where it's like, yeah, I've seen it. There's more, but it's like there's not much I can do. That's why I'm like stepped away from it, is because like it makes it hard for me, and it makes me look back. And it's like, yeah, it's out there, but I can't give it to you, and it's really frustrating.
Well, I mean, yeah, this is one thing because there's been some times with drama where someone's messaged me and it's like they're speaking off the record, but in the public arena, that is next to useless because if they're not willing to come on record and say something about it.
Someone just DM'd me and said they want to come on. They're in my waiting room. They said they were involved with the CTV drama.
Yeah, sure.
What would you recommend? Hello, EOD.
Hello. Sorry, I had to get my mic ready. How y'all doing?
Yeah, said that
How are you doing?
Very good.
something to weigh in.
Yeah, sure. I'd love to. I mean, I feel like everybody who's been talking about this has been talking about it from a second or third hand perspective, and I want to shed some light on this from a first hand perspective because I was in the DMs, I was on the memorial, I was part of the group that ended up, sort of breaking off from CTV because of all of this garbage. Okay, so ultimately, what happened was, Colonel Dan passed sadly, and we all started to put together our efforts to try and come up with a way to memorialize him, maybe do a fundraiser so that we could donate to the family and, grieve with them and honor, our experiences with Colonel Dan, this, that, and the other thing. CTV said, oh, well, I got some crap going on in my life, so I'm going to take care of that, and you guys run with this, and we'll meet up and figure shit out later. We're like, okay, great. So we start I don't want to mention any names, okay? Because I realize a lot of us really don't want to be brought into the spotlight on this or catch flack for it. I mean, and it's another thing you've been bringing up a lot, Chud, is trying to profit off of a man's death just feels icky. You know what I'm saying? This is not at all what I'm trying to do. It's not what anybody's trying to do. Okay, but anyway, people started to make strides towards creating this memorial and making it happen. And we started talking to people who were actually involved with Colonel Dan's life, actually involved with some of the geopolitical stuff that Colonel Dan was getting into, that could speak and personally knew him, and this, that, and the other thing, and it turned into a big ordeal to try and coordinate and organize all of this. So we ended up pushing the date out about a month from the time that we learned of Colonel Dan's death. That didn't sit well with CTV. He said, "No, it's the internet. You can't. I don't remember what happened a fucking week ago. So how the hell is this going to be worth anything?" And it's like, well, dude, it's not really about that. And ironically enough, the day before we had our memorial a month out, the family had their memorial. So it was really not that odd to push it out that far, frankly. So there was that. And then it must have been probably a week or two after CTV told us he was having to deal with shit in his personal life, and he couldn't devote the entirety of his attention to it. He comes back into the thread and interrupts one of our primary coordinators who was handling all of this coordination that I was talking about. It was a big damn headache. He said, if you're going to do anything in Discord, you're going to do it in my Discord. That's how that's going to fucking work. And that pissed everybody off because he said, y'all run with it, go do something. And we started doing something. We started getting something coordinated. We set a date and he said, nope, that's not good enough. We're going to do it my way or we're not doing it at all. Fuck you guys. And that, like I said, that pissed everybody off. So, that's pretty much it. Okay. And he got fucking butthurt about it. And we invited him. Hey, dude, come on to the memorial, share your part of it. You definitely come on. He didn't come on. I posted the link in your text chat yesterday, Chud, because you were talking about this yesterday, to the actual memorial that we had, and CTV did not show. So there was that. That was kind of fucked up. And so, at this point, me, some of the other folks that are involved, we're like, I don't care anymore about what's going on with CTV. You know what I'm saying? Like, we're done. We're just fucking moving on.
Okay, sure. So, obviously this is first-hand like testimony, and which is obviously better than someone that wasn't there.
Right.
I don't think I think I can piece together. I don't think I would need to like necessarily see something to kind of demonstrate this, but I probably would imagine that you've got some personal and emotional investment in this. So, the way you've characterized it, if I really wanted to buy into a characterization, I would need to see like logs or something. I'm not saying I want those, but I'm just highlighting that that's where the issue would be, right? Because the way you're explaining it, it sounds like CTV wasn't doing this because he was like money grabbing or something. He just had this difference of perspective on when the memorial should be, and people disagreed with that and wanted to do it later. Right? And the Discord thing, I mean, I don't know. It seems to be here that he's talking about like, the wolf pack was where this Dan person hung out and did his content as well. Is that kind of
that's fair?
right,
What you got on the screen right there is exactly what I'm talking about. I can't. Why do you put Grumple's name up there? I'm trying to keep Grumple out of this. But anyway, the one after what the second message that Grumple said, he just blatantly says, "This is the date. Here's when we're doing it, and fuck everything you guys have been trying to put together." Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, this friction came about because CTV was quite close-minded in how he wanted to deal with it, and other people were wanting to be a bit more open because of the sensitivity of the situation, perhaps.
Well, not only that, but it was like I was saying, like we were trying to coordinate with people who have lives outside of Twitch, we'll say, okay? And
Right. Grass touches.
Sure. And it was just difficult for them to find a good time and a good day to do it, and we ended up having to push it out in order to keep those people involved. We ended up having to push it out about a month, which was about a week or two after this Sunday, June 12th date that CTV set. And isn't his Discord name just fantastic? But whatever.
Okay. In fact, I'll ask you, what do you think when he says incognito? What do you think he means by that?
One can only speculate, Chud. I have no fucking idea. Okay, but apparently it's been relayed to me from a third party that was a Chappelle Show's joke, and he's sort of just paying homage to the joke. That's how it was explained to me.
Fair enough. Yeah, like I say, I mean, if I wanted to really get down into the weeds and stuff, we could. But I broadly speaking, I understand. I think kind of broadly what happened. What's? I mean, I guess I'd ask you, Alexa, based on that description we just heard. Like, I mean, it'd be great if CTV could come on, but I don't know what he's doing or if he's even coming onto streams at the moment. Like, does that align in any way with what CTV said to you privately?
Not exactly. So the way CTV had framed certain things is that like he should have came in and like hand of God the shit because these people are incompetent, and it would have worked if he could have came in, and it's like they're the reason it's bad, and like all this like list of names who I'm not gonna name. It's like their fault, the reason that this happened and stuff like that. That's kind of how he was framing it, is that like he didn't try to be an authoritarian and that they were, and they were trying to kick him out of it and weren't allowing him to help.
Oh, see, that's not true at all. Okay. We repeatedly tried to keep him involved. We repeatedly tried to get him to engage with us and to be a part of it. And he just flatly refused because we weren't going to do it on his schedule. And we were pieces of shit because of that, and have been ever since. And he went on stream and berated Grumple specifically about this the interaction that you just saw on the screen. That pissed me and the other folks off. And privately, he berated somebody else. I'm really trying to avoid names, but I tried to defend that. Okay, so that was on stream, but I tried to preacher. I tried to
have
defend
another
preacher.
person who wants to come in. This is actually the person who is
right. Yeah, please bring in Mel, please.
Yeah. There she is.
Hey, Mel.
So, hi, Mel. So, Mel is one of the people who is.
Hold on.
Okay.
Sorry,
Yeah. So, to put context, Mel is one of the people who has been one of the main factors of the things that I know about this, because she was one of the most people who were involved in this the most.
Well, to be fair, EOD was just as involved as I was, as was Preacher and
Grumple.
And Grumple. And like I said, I just heard EOD say, I really don't want to throw other people's names out there because I don't want to make them a target. I just don't give a shit, personally, what people think or say about me, because the only thing I have to say is what happened, and if people like it, they like it. If they don't, it's not going to change my world. Yeah. It happened. And all I've been trying to do is when people come to me with questions, I tell them what I know. And I'm trying to leave names out of it.
Okay, that's fine, telling you a series of events, but you, I'm sure, can understand that if people, don't know the facts or weren't there, they might ask for like some evidence or some sort of,
right.
Like they might not believe you if you're not going to provide evidence, say, as an example, right?
Well,
right. But there are some things that
from her. I mean,
right. But there are some things that just stand to reason. I mean, if I used to investigate people's quote unquote stories all the time, and there's some things that just make sense. Like in the beginning of this with the conversation between myself and CTV, and let me just say this: I have no ill will towards him. I don't know what he's going through, but I hope he gets through it.
Yeah.
But I there's no way in this lifetime I could make up something like what he said to me. I mean, I still can't believe it to this day. It still freaks me out. And
what was it he said?
The business about Colonel Dan was just somebody that we knew from the internet.
Just some guy on the internet. Yeah.
Yeah, just somebody we knew from the internet in reference to.
Where did you meet him?
Colonel Dan?
Yeah.
He first showed up on Preacher's stream. On the morning streams.
Where was that broadcast? On Twitch?
Yeah, on Twitch. And then eventually Preacher introduced Colonel Dan to the Infinity Acre Woods.
What?
And CTV.
While that may be an accurate statement in point of fact, but it's dismissive of how important and insightful Colonel Dan was to our community.
Right.
Yeah, but you did meet him on the internet. Like, listen, this might be upsetting for you. I understand it's a personal thing, but maybe CTV was being a bit rude and harsh when he said it.
Okay, well, you don't say that, but then cry on stream when people that you knew from the internet pass away. Okay, there's, either you cared about the person enough to cry or you don't. And if you care enough to put something together, like a memorial stream, then you probably cared about the person. Otherwise, they are just somebody you knew from the internet. And then in that point of fact, what's the big problem with him doing his own stream and us continuing to do what we were doing and him joining in? What is the problem if it was just somebody we knew from the internet?
Yeah.
I mean, I'll tell you what the difference is.
Yeah, okay.
It's the timing.
Mm-hmm.
It's the shock factor.
Right.
I don't want to think this about CTV, and I said this morning. I haven't even said it out loud more than once or twice. And this morning was probably the second time I've said it. And now is probably the third. I don't want to think that about anybody. I like to think the best of people until they show me different. So, I mean, that whole conversation just, it absolutely blew me away.
Sure. So, I think that, the issue here is we've gone from the idea that, and listen, I'm sure it was upsetting for CTV to say that to you, but we've gone from CTV being like abrasive and rude about this in some way to the narrative has now come to CTV was trying to profit off of a man's death. Like, that's a big difference, right?
That's up to everybody else to make up their own mind. I mean, I've put out what I've put out. People can make their own decision, and if they don't think that that was his ultimate goal, then so be it. I know what I think, and I'm not really saying it publicly. This is really the first time I think I've discussed all this publicly. So, I mean, people can think what they want.
Right.
I mean,
if there were claims circulating that you were a paedophile, okay, and I'd, somewhat contributed to that, and then I turned around and said, well, it's up to people what they think, would that bother you, do you think?
Well, that's a little different because that's a felony charge.
Well, no, but wait, no, it's not different at all because it's not to do with what's being a felony charge got to do with it. The basic principle is the same.
Well,
you have put
legally defamation.
Right. Right. Exactly. There's a difference between slander and this.
Right.
And
the point is you're not willing to take ownership of the fact that what you said has contributed to this narrative spreading that CTV is looking to profit off a man's death. And when I question you on it, you're like, well, that's up to other people to decide. So you are implicitly supporting the conclusion that CTV is looking to profit off a man's death, but you're not willing to supply, as far as I know, very much evidence to demonstrate that.
I have sent what I've sent to Alexa. If people don't read it from that, then that's up to them. I can't help them with that. I had a personal conversation where him and I discussed it, and I can't prove any of that conversation. So what am I supposed to do?
Look, I don't think anybody's trying to say that the CTV is trying to profit off of a man's death. It just seems
no.
But people are coming to that conclusion, and you don't care to dismiss that. You're like, well, if that's what people decide, that's up to them. So, I mean,
Well, what are we supposed to do? I mean, I can't change anybody's mind. I can't make them think something. I mean, I could give you all the evidence in the world, and if you don't want to believe that about CTV, you're not going to believe it.
But if you don't believe that he's trying to profit off someone's death, it should be pretty simple for you to say, I don't really believe he was trying to profit off someone's death. But when I question you on it, you go, well, that's up for other people to decide. Do you see the issue there?
Okay, well, this is my particular opinion. I mean, I don't see any
reason
your
opinion. It is your opinion that he's looking to profit off his death then, right?
Well, if that's what you want to go with, sure.
Well, no, it's not. You
but
just
I don't
fucking said that to me. What, are you fucking retarded? You just said that to me.
Okay,
and then
I'm
you're saying, well, it's up to you.
If you're going to call me names, I will
I'm going to call you names because you're being retarded. It is what it is.
No,
yeah, listen, all I've got is speculation because I know you fucking mongoloids want to actually say what happened or provide any evidence. It's all your fucking interpretation.
No, I said I provided evidence as to the conversation that we had between CTV and myself.
Like I said, Chud, where do you think these DMs come from? I mean, what evidence do you want us to provide? I'm sorry. I don't understand what you're getting upset about.
I can provide whatever I can provide, and it's going to be up to everybody else to make up their mind. I mean, I mean, short of, putting him up to a microphone and forcing him to say it, there's nothing else I can do. I mean, people are allowed to make up their own minds, and I'm not here to make anybody think anything, but I'm here to make sure that my name doesn't get trashed, and the people that worked on this memorial. And Dan, I mean, this whole thing is just ridiculous, and none of it had to happen.
Yeah.
I'm way too fucking old to be dealing with this kind of shit. I mean, this is just unreal.
Yeah, sure. I mean, I just think that, I mean, I don't even know what you believe about it because I thought that you just said, I think he profited off of someone's death essentially. And then when I say that, you say, well, that's what you believe. Well, I believe it because
I don't want to think that, and I don't want to have to say it. I said, I've said it twice, and I don't want to have to. I don't know.
Do you believe it?
He's never defended himself so I don't know for sure what he was thinking.
All right.
Just what do you think he was thinking?
Like, just to be clear, I want to be transparent here, Mel. You have, when we've had discussion, you have said before that you do believe that he was trying to profit off of his death.
Well, what else are you supposed to think? But, that's just my personal opinion.
This is the biggest fucking copium I've ever heard. So you do think that he profited off a man's death? Yes or no?
Well, he may have been trying to.
Why can't you just answer a fucking question?
I am, but he didn't because he didn't have the stream. So how could he? Yes, he tried to. That's what I think. Period. Now, what other people think is up to them.
CTV's in my green room. I think he wants to speak as well. Are we going to bring him in?
I was going to say that. Yeah.
Sure,
let's bring him in. Let the man speak for himself and defend himself. Come on.
Yeah.
Sure, you can join.
Right, CTV. I don't know if you're listening to this. Right, I'm going to go and speak to him and get him in here. Okay, give me a sec.
All right.
All right.
You know what the most frustrating part about this, Alexa?
What?
We thought this shit was over.
I feel like
We were done
Chud
with
is
it. Yeah,
saying exactly what I've been saying since the beginning
we
of
could
this.
bury
I
it
feel
here.
like
Just
CTV hasn't been
you
here
have to
to
be
bring any
very
of this
transparent
up.
about this because, like I said, it's like to be fair, Mel, you are the main contributor of like a lot of what I am going off of.
Well, and what you also know from CTV.
Right.
Because after that conversation in his Discord, him and I never spoke again. I haven't spoken to him since the Discord.
Yeah. I've barely spoken to him.
But if he jumps in here and starts yelling and screaming and acting like a child, I'm gonna drop out because it's not something I care to deal with.
They're talking alone on stream. And he's gonna go on this fucking trip that we're subordinates that had to fucking do what he said because he's the man in charge.
Okay. Can we take can we take this to Chud's Discord if I invite you?
I'm not on Chud's. I'm not.
I can invite you. That's what I'm saying.
Let's see. There it is. Yep.
Yes, by all means. Yeah, sorry about that.
Now, those 3 posts.
You send me an invite link that way I can send it to them. You have it where it's private.
See what I mean, Chad? See what I mean, Chad?
It's okay. We're just sorting out logistics. Okay, just don't worry. Go on CTV.
So there was 3 posts that I made. The first post that I made on the day that we found out that the colonel died. The first post was about what I had been dealing with on that day, and what I had been dealing with on that day was that my wife had what was supposed to be a routine knee surgery, and what ended up happening is that after she came out of anesthesia, she had developed water on her lungs, and when she came to, she was completely gasping for air and could not catch her breath. And like, I saw a whole bunch of shit flash before my eyes. Like in that moment, I started crying. I thought I was going to lose my wife on that day. Okay. We had to rush her to the ER. She spent the night in the ER. Right. Thankfully, everything was okay. In between trips to Orlando and back home is when I see the message in the Discord that the colonel had passed. So I made the first post, and they've been sharing this post, right, about what happened with my wife. The second post was to the colonel's nephew and to.
I mean, there was a large bit of time.
EOD, I'm sorry. Right? Did somebody chime your fucking bell? Chill the fuck out.
Just trying to make sure there's clarity to the situation here.
I'm trying to sit here and fucking explain my side of the story, right? You guys have had the last fucking month to just keep running your mouths and putting out.
Running our mouths? Boy, that's a lot for you, isn't it?
You know what?
Fuck you piece of shit.
Fuck. There you go. Now. So the second post was to the colonel's nephew and the colonel's wife, because the colonel had left me a message on Twitch that I copied from Whisper that he had sent me into Discord DM, his Discord DM, so that I could read it better. So there's a record of that. And one of the things that he asked me, and therefore was, my help in helping his nephew and his wife with the education stream that she was wanting to be able to do, right? Got the same way that I had helped him. Now, the third post, and I felt like it was pretty clear, and I'm going to go ahead and bring it up so that I can read it clearly for everybody. Let's see. What I said was, there we go. So far as letting the community know, I think setting a time for a meeting would be good. Get the streamers together for a panel so folks can let Dan's family know what he meant to each of us. I would say keep the information unspoken into this chat, adding in certain people like Wobbly and Mel, for instance, so that we can prepare an announcement for the community. Thoughts, right? Nobody else tagged me. Nobody else asked me any questions about that. Nobody bothered, hell, even reading it. When I talked to Mel during the conversation that she references, right? One of the things that I pointed out to her was that she wasn't even aware or even bothered putting any kind of thought into what it is that I was trying to get at there, considering that obviously all of my thought is not completely online because frankly, I've got a hell of a lot more shit going on here in real life to deal with than a bunch of fucking adults, right? Or wait, more like, grown fucking children that are not trying to understand the preface of like, my mind is not all the way here in this shit. So what I'm talking about there is I didn't want anybody to be missed. One of the things that ended up happening as a result of all of this shit breaking down is who was definitely a friend of the Colonel, who was there in his stream every day, right? She was a person that talked to the Colonel on a regular basis, had his wife's cell phone number and communicated directly with her, right? She didn't find out that the Colonel had passed until her and I spoke on a private DM voice chat about a week and a half later. And that was the kind of shit that I wanted to avoid. I wanted to, everybody to come together, use a fucking list. We got but nobody bothered trying to extend the conversation that I'd had, because what happened directly after this DM was Preacher came in there, right, and said, oh, what CTV wants to do is a good idea, but we're going to run over here in this direction and we're going to work on the thing that I want to do, right? Because Preacher didn't see himself as a part of my community. If you go ask him, he'll be more than happy to tell you the story about how he and I had a conversation about trying to set, stream times where he would start at 7 and I'd start at 9 and he'd raid over to me. When he and I had that conversation, what I told him then was it was going to be hard for me to hold to any kind of schedule, because lots of these times, most conversations that I end up in usually end up starting at 8 o'clock, right? And then it's not only just, Preacher and what he's trying to do, but I've got all of the other considerations that I'm doing for when I'm starting my stream based on what is happening in my real life, right? I started my stream from the get-go being completely 100 with everybody that I'm a veteran with PTSD and I'm working through therapy. I told them that I was going to therapy at the VA in Tallahassee. I've been going to the therapy at the VA here in Kissimmee, right? Nothing's changed about me telling people who the fuck I am. That's just fucking reality. So
okay, listen, CTV. Sorry, I just
Sure.
I can sense some discontent, and I've got I think an idea of your side of events. So sounds like you got a lot of personal stuff going on. I mean, Mel, EOD. I mean, what's your take on this?
Wait, you want to go, Mel, or you want me to?
Go ahead.
All right. Look, there was. Preacher definitely is part of the community. Okay, first of all, that's a terrible mischaracterization of who the man is.
Okay, so anybody that wants to see the DM,
secondly,
shut up and sit down.
Anybody wants to see the DM, feel free to look at the DM where he saw that to begin with, and he didn't want to be a part of the community.
What was going to happen?
I'm fucking serious.
And we tried to run with it. Okay, you basically let the reins off and said, y'all go ahead and do something. And we started trying to figure it out. We started trying to get Dan's friends to be involved in this whole fucking ordeal. And then in the middle of that coordination,
let me ask you a very simple question.
In the middle of that coordination, you come in and say, no, this is the date. This is when we're doing it. It's got to be at this time on this
very simple question.
In my Discord.
Very simple question.
Wait. Sorry. Can we just let's let EOD get his point out first, and then you can respond. EOD, sorry. Continue. What are you trying to say?
What I'm trying to say is after we had gone through all this coordination and this planning to put this thing together, you came in and said, here's the date, here's the time, here's where we're doing it, and everything you all have been doing and putting together is gone. I don't give a shit about that. Is what
I didn't tell anybody that anything was fucking gone. You're telling a damn lie right there. You can go do whatever the fuck that you want to do, but you don't get to decide what I do. Or that was the fucking problem.
And we didn't have a problem with that. We
As soon as
told you
Preacher
that.
decided that he wasn't going to bother being a part of the community in the DM Illustrated, where he was like, well, if you're just going to go do your own thing, why didn't he see himself as a part of it then? Why didn't he say, hey, that sounds like a great idea. How can I get on board with that? He didn't do that.
God,
right?
you are such a sickening fucking liar.
He didn't see himself as a part of the community because he had already got butt hurt before, and that's
liar,
his fucking
liar,
problem. That's not my
liar,
fucking problem.
liar, liar,
There's another
That
liar.
ain't a fucking lie. Go
Okay.
back and watch
Liar.
Preacher's old
You're a
fucking
fucking
vlog. You'll
liar.
see him
You're a
bitching
piece
about
of
it and
shit
moaning
liar.
about it.
Damn it, Mel.
Period.
Damn.
That's it.
So listen, man. I was been a bit hard on you earlier. I just want to check though, like based on what's happening now, do you think that CTV was trying to profit off a man's death or not?
Oh, for shit's sake! I don't know. I think he wanted to make sure it was still part of the zeitgeist when the memorial happened. Whether you want to see that as profit or whatever, it was a timing issue, in my opinion. From what our interactions have been, CTV, is you didn't like the timing of what we were going to do because it was too far out. You said that to me. You said,
Yeah.
I don't remember
Oh, you're
what
dead.
happened a
Yeah,
week
you're
ago. This is the
absolutely
internet,
full.
is what you said to me.
No,
Who
what I-
schedules a memorial service a month out?
Who does
when
that?
When in
Exactly.
reality,
Exactly.
Dan's family scheduled his memorial for the 25th of June. We had his memorial the
And
next
guess
day.
what? I don't give
You
two
were
flies of a
fucking
fuck about
wrong.
any of that. What I care about and what I've cared about from the beginning as a part of my
Mhm.
community would be like my experience and me being able to bring that as the community that I'm forming around me. In every single instance, including when I was in the military, within 1 week of death, there's funeral services unless the body is somewhere overseas and has to be brought back. That's
You could have
pretty fucking
had
simple shit.
you could have
wanna
had
bring
your
own shit over here
online
and then,
memorial
try to say that
service
I'm
and you
supposed to
chose
do that
not
because
to.
you're like literally just a moderator in the community. You're not the actual fucking the face of the whole fucking deal, right?
Who
and
said
that
I
was the
was?
problem with a lot of you is that all of you thought that you had an idea and you wanted to run and you did that with Preacher. Go fucking do that. Whenever I said that I was going to do my thing, you all decided that you weren't going to fucking be a part of it, and you were like,
That is such a
why do
lie.
you even have something different?
That
you
is
wanna
such
do?
a lie.
I told you I would
That ain't a
participate.
fucking lie.
We
That's
all
exactly how
said
it
I
we
told
fucking
you
went
I would
down.
participate in what you were doing, and
We
you
all
were more
said
than
we
invited
would.
to come to ours.
Yeah, you didn't want to come to ours because it was too far out. We said, fine, have your stream. We want you to do your thing. We will participate. We will put shit aside. And that still didn't make you happy, which caused the fight between you and me in that VC initially. You know, maybe you should slow down and listen to what people are saying a little bit more before you jump the gun and think everybody's trying to hurt you. Nobody was trying to hurt you or upset you.
So then why was I ignored? I
You
prefaced
were-
the whole
you-
thing with like, "Hey, I need
you
some help."
posted
Y'all
the very
didn't ask me
first
one
post,
fucking question about what it is that I felt like.
I
needed
wish
to
somebody
happen
could
for
learn
my
to fucking
community.
mute this man because he talks so fucking much. Nobody can ever get
Yeah,
a
come on.
goddamn word in.
CTV, come on, let's as the
I've
people's
been having to
champion.
listen to these
The-
sons of bitches.
no, it's 'cause he
talking
doesn't
shit
want the
on
truth
us
to
for
get
the
out.
last fucking month.
He
Listen,
doesn't
nobody-
want
Month
the
I've been
truth
listening
out.
to this shit. I decided
Nobody's
to
been
come
running
here,
their
the
mouth.
first thing that's going to be happening is people are over talking me.
No,
exactly.
he doesn't like to hear the truth. He doesn't want people to
I
talk
doesn't
the
like
truth.
To hear the truth.
Well, then
Oh
shut
my
up for
God.
2 minutes.
Gee, all I hear coming out of your fucking mouth is lies.
Oh, go
Period.
fuck yourself.
Bullshit.
The timeline of events was Dan's death was announced on the 27th on that private chat. CTV came back on 6/2 to say we were all doing a great job. So a couple weeks later, that was the first time we heard anything
and then
from
Wobbly
him.
came and talked
And
to me, and I
then-
told all y'all that then too, and y'all didn't want to fucking listen. I came talk to EOD, he didn't fucking listen. So the point
Come on,
was,
listen, CTV. I don't have listen, mate. I feel for you, CTV. I don't have to meet you. Come on, let's just let people get the points out, and you can respond. Okay, the people's champion.
Jesus
You know how this
Christ.
works. Okay, go on, Mel.
Okay.
Sorry.
On 6/2, he came back to say we were all doing a great job. And if there was anything that we needed from him, to just let him know. We all figured that he was busy with his wife who was sick, and we all knew about it, and we felt bad. And also he was having computer problems. So we just continued on. We didn't know that there was a problem from his end. He didn't articulate anything other than he thought we were doing a good job. And then he does 3 streams complaining about us and what we're doing. And we were like, what the hell is going on? And CTV says to me, well, I didn't say any names during the streams. Well, I think the people that are working on the memorial stream know exactly who you're talking about. And then he came back. It was after the 3rd stream in the middle of the night, and or early in the morning, something like that, on 6/6, and started the fight in the conversation about the memorial stream, telling us all that he had set the date and this is what he was going to do, and and we were like, well, fine, but we're still going to have our memorial service. And then we were like, do it. But he got into a big fight with Preacher, and a few other people were not happy with him. And CTV insulted both one other member of the memorial service and then a family member, with this big fight about where we were going to try to localize this conversation, because we had two different chat things going on. So we were trying to figure out a way to centralize all the conversations so that people weren't getting confused. But then he jumped in and said, no, if there's going to be any conversations about this in Discord, it's going to be on the IAW. And which pissed off the person that was talking to the nephew. And then he came in and said, okay, I'm starting. He goes, this is the date I'm going to set for it. This is when we're going to have it. And boom. And we were like, okay, well, that's fine. Do your thing. But he pissed off Preacher because, once again, it was during a time when Preacher would be streaming for his normal Sunday stream. And they got into a big fight. I stayed out of it. Everybody stayed out of it. Yeah. And then CTV got mad and he left the conversation completely.
So CTV, I mean, these are quite, serious kind of allegations. I guess maybe if you want to respond, and maybe elaborate on why you made some of the decisions you did. Are you there, CTV?
Riveting.
Let's see. What was the last point? See, this is the problem with just letting a woman fucking just talk, because she rambles on into infinity, right?
What
and then
the
you
fuck
end up
did you
missing
just
all
say?
of the fucking points, right? Oh, are you talking again? Is that what's happening? Right?
I mean, you did.
Maybe sit down in the fucking chair and listen for a minute, because that's what you wanted me to do. That's what the fuck I just did.
You're a misogynistic asshole.
Yeah, it just happened. What are you going to do about it?
I'm glad that his viewers can actually see this.
What are you going to fucking do about it?
I don't have to do anything about it.
Well, then don't do fucking all about it. Just sit there, shut the fuck up, and let the man talk.
Okay, fuck you, you prick.
Good.
Christ almighty.
Anything
what the hell
else?
is wrong with you?
Listen, look,
and you wonder why people have a problem with him, that you wonder why all of his friends walk away from him and say fuck off.
I mean, that was quite a misogynistic statement. I think we need to, let's just reset a bit. CTV, please make your piece. Go on.
Okay, so as far as the statement to the colonel, or the colonel's family that was insulting, I have yet to even see what the fuck that is, right? I think that's got to be something that they're inferring because they're butthurt, right? So whenever the initial butthurt happens, right, it has a tendency to spread. In this case, it started with Preacher, right? It moved over to Melly, right? And now it's moved over to a whole bunch of other people. So there's a lot of people with the butthurt. Now, moving to the part where I said it needed to be in the IAW, every single one of these people I had conversations with about the type of community that I was trying to build and the type of records and things that I was trying to keep for the people that had been involved in my community specifically, right? If you knew me, I wanted you to be a part of the community. It felt like that if you knew me and we had a good relationship, that I was going to be trying to hold on to these kind of records. Why is it that people that are all a part of this thing and understanding what it is that I'm trying to do are now, in this particular instance, going, well, why the fuck would we do it there? It's like, what?
Huh?
To me, I've been facilitating this thing for the last 2 fucking years, and then you're like, well, we're not just going to do it now. We're all going over here. We're doing this. Well, okay, fuck y'all. It makes it real simple for me, and then y'all want to get butthurt because, as soon as you made the decision to walk off and leave, then I'm not coming to chase after you. Fuck you, you left. It's that pretty fucking simple.
My God.
The other thing that I wanted to address is this allegation that we've been out here spreading fucking rumors and lies and bullshit. That's garbage, CTV. Nobody from that conversation has been out here saying a damn thing. I don't know who the hell started spreading it in the first place. I don't know who the hell started spreading it in the first place, but the reason Mel got involved was because people were mischaracterizing the situation, and she wanted to shine some clarity on it with Alexa by letting out a few DMs and trying to protect people's names and shit. And that's how we find ourselves here today in Chud's fucking room screaming at each other. So
I've had so many people that's had no problem coming and letting me know everything that's been going on over there, right? From different,
bet. I'm glad you know exactly what I fucking said.
and
piece of shit.
Twitch and everything else, right? So like, it ain't like I hadn't been aware, right, of how loose y'all's mouths have been for a while, and how like
Don't
all
say
these
y'all's mouths.
Oh,
deep-seated
y'all mouth.
fucking,
Like we don't
you
have
know,
a right to defend ourselves against the bullshit that you've been spreading.
defend yourself.
Right.
I fucking completely deleted the server and wanted nothing to do with any of this.
Then why
shit
are
and
you
haven't
talking to
streamed in a
people? Why are
fucking
you
month.
calling people
What,
and
you
starting
think that
shit?
I'm not supposed to have friends in the fucking community? Like whenever I decide that I'm not
Why
going
are
to
you
do streaming,
starting
that
Well,
I
you
just
know
stop
what?
talking to people
Then
that
if
I
somebody-
talk to
if
regularly. What the
somebody
fuck is
comes
wrong
to
with
me-
you?
Why are you calling people and letting them know that none of us are trustworthy? Well, what's up with that?
Wait, who?
Uh-oh.
None of us
who-
called you and said a word about you not being trustworthy.
And who
No.
exactly is saying that I said that somebody wasn't
I'm
trustworthy?
not going to say that. I'm not going
Oh.
to say the name. You know I won't say the name.
But we got a call.
But I've gotten phone calls of people telling me that you're running around screaming that I'm untrustworthy. EOD's untrustworthy. Mel's untrustworthy.
That
Preacher's
woman.
untrustworthy.
That
What's
woman.
up with that?
I think
Who's telling who what?
Yeah, I think I already explained myself and everything that went down and where my mind has been at, and how the people that were supposed to be there, right, to have my back, decided they were going to go in a completely different direction, not try to ask me,
Well,
what
that's
it is
because
that I
your
was
back
doing, this, that,
started
and the other.
acting like an ass. Maybe if you hadn't been acting like an
I
ass to
don't give
everyone
two
in this
flies of a fuck.
You
Y'all
know,
can
I
go
don't
fuck
either.
off.
You know I don't either.
Go fuck. I don't care. I literally don't
We
care.
didn't really care either.
The amount of mental gymnastics and fucking like mental management that I've been trying to do in order to try to hold this community together.
We're
Whoa.
talking about
Right?
mental gymnastics.
Gymnastics.
Let's open a can of
Jesus
worms there on
fucking
mental
Christ.
gymnastics.
Anyway,
This is way more entertaining than I thought it was going to be.
so at the end of the day, whenever I needed y'all to be there, you weren't.
We
Right?
were.
And I
We
had
were
Wobbly
working
coming
on
and
it.
talking to me.
We
and
were
telling
taking
me
care of
that
shit.
y'all
because
weren't
you were
there.
busy with your wife, and your
Yeah.
wife is more important, and we get that because we all have lives too outside of fucking Twitch.
Yeah.
We were working on it.
We
Hey,
thought we
Any
were
of
helping
any of
you.
y'all bother talking to Wobbly? Any of you?
Yes, we've all talked to
Okay,
Wobbly.
so
I
then,
talk to
so then
Wobbly
you
all the
went and
time.
watched his initial stream where after, he and I had a conversation, he was like, we need to be setting this time, right? That morning on his stream, he was very proud to be making the announcement that I had set a time for the Wolfpack to be doing its memorial. And he
God,
was
you don't
very
still
happy
get
that
it,
it
do
was
you?
heading in that direction. I
my
made that
God.
old man fucking smile by just saying, this is what this is going to happen. And then everybody else wants to come after that and want to tell me, oh, I'm doing the wrong fucking thing, right? So
And
there's a whole
nobody
lot of
said you were wrong.
non-communication happening between the people that actually have the ability to be able to spend the time online to
my
do the
God.
things, right? And then whenever I'm over here doing the things that I have to do in my life, I've got to come back here and deal with all this fucking drama, right? I'm done with all of it.
Well, then
right?
stop talking about it.
Then stop fucking bringing my name up on streams
I'm
throughout the
not.
fucking week, and I won't have to come here on
I'm
Chud's
not.
stream, who's a friend
I'm
of
not.
mine, to sit
I'm
here
not.
and tell all of you to shut the fuck up.
I'm not, because I don't think you're that important. I think you lost all
Apparently,
importance.
I am, because y'all can't stop talking about me.
I'm not talking about you. I haven't talked about you on stream or privately for quite some time, until the other day when this shit popped up again, because you're calling people and starting shit.
Yeah.
Period.
There it is.
There it is. This is on you, CTV, and it's about fucking time you accept responsibility for the bullshit you started and the shit you continue to start.
Well,
I'm
I
too
haven't told
fucking old to be
anybody
playing
that
games with a
somebody-
fucking kid.
Well, I haven't told anybody that people aren't trustworthy, so I don't know what the fuck
Oh,
you're
that's a
talking
lie.
about.
Oh,
Never
that's a
check
lie.
DMs.
That's a lie.
Show
Okay.
me. Show me.
The fact of the matter is that we got a call from someone that the three of us, you, CTV, me, and April, trust, and asking us what the fuck that was about, and why is it that CTV is saying you two are untrustworthy. That's that's what we got. And
Yep.
it's my assumption that that wasn't the only person you talked to about that or said that to. Am I wrong?
I don't even
Am
know
I
what the fuck
lying?
you're talking about at this point. You haven't showed me a damn thing.
Okay.
Yeah, we sit down and record our voice conversations. I keep forgetting that.
It's unfucking believable.
He knows
CTV.
exactly who we're talking about.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah, he knows.
He knows.
He's gonna sit there and play dumb like he usually does.
Well, because that's the only thing he can do.
Here we are again.
Because if he admits he knows who it is, then he's going to have to admit he's right.
I
Or
don't
that
even
the
know what
person
did
fuck
it.
that you're right.
talking about.
That he fucking did it.
You know you fucking did it.
What are you talking about? Oh, the smart guy, the smartest guy in the room suddenly is stupid.
Yeah.
I fucking love it.
So let me get this straight. We've all got this. We all are going to paint this narrative like, oh, he should know what they're talking about, right? So if we keep saying it, that's going to
Painting this
bedrock in the
narrative like
chat's
they all-
mind,
Fuck-
right?
fuck
That
you.
oh, he should know. I have no idea what the fuck you crazy ass people are talking about.
I have no idea what you crazy ass people are talking. The
That's
fuck you
hilarious.
don't.
Okay.
The fuck you don't.
Yeah.
Oh.
I mean, CTV. I mean, you're getting taken to task by two women here. It's pretty embarrassing for you, no?
And it's been pretty fucking easy too, because he's
Yeah.
full of shit.
He's lying through his teeth.
It's hard to defend a lie.
Okay, so what is it that you're accusing me of, right? And then show me the evidence, because you haven't
You know
shown
who it
me
is.
a fucking thing.
You know who it is.
I know
You
who
know
what is.
exactly who it is. Yeah, you do.
Yeah.
But you're
Who
gonna
is
sit there and
what?
keep playing dumb. That's
Who
fine.
is? Okay, so you're not going to like answer a simple question. Who is
I'm
what?
not going to say the name. No, I'm
No.
not.
No.
The name
No,
for
I
what?
won't.
The name for what?
For the person and the other people you've been calling and telling that we aren't trustworthy. We can't be trusted.
Show me a DM.
Nope,
I
not
can't
gonna
show
do it.
you a DM. It was a voice call, you ditz.
Holy shit. So you're just saying that there's a thing, right? and then telling me that I'm
yeah.
supposed to know. That's
Yeah,
what you're
well,
saying.
I've got a few things, so
Oh.
Wow. 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 Is that it?
Oh, to be in CTV's head. No, I don't want to be there. That's not a place I
you don't
want to
wanna
be.
there.
It's fucking unbelievable. Oh, man. People who want no part of this fucking drama are calling, making phone calls and saying, why the hell is this man calling me with this kind of shit? And leave my name out of it. Oh, yeah, okay. Yeah, they're just calling you up. They're just making this phone call because they just feel like it.
We can put a
They were
date on it,
bored.
okay? If it'll jog your memory, it was July 4th or 5th actually that we received the call, but 4th when you made the call. So
I
You should
mean,
have just
does
let
that
this
help,
shit
or-
go.
yeah. I mean, it seems like this isn't going to go anywhere. Unfortunately, CTV. There's some allegations that have been floating around about you that you're trying to profit off a man's death, and things like that. One thing I did want to ask you.
Well, there actually is like the whole idea there was, specifically the reason why I wanted to be able to, give people a chance to prepare statements so that they could, the whole idea was to record the VOD so that we could send it to the family so that the people that the colonel had impacted online would have a chance to be able to say something and us make an announcement, with enough time ahead. That way, anybody that wasn't a part of the, say, inner circle of, who was around the colonel and talking to him, they'd be able to have, time from the announcement that was made to when the panel would happen, if they wanted to be able to come on to be able to, have their feelings shared with the VOD that would be sent to the family. That was the entire idea for that. So if by simply starting the stream, recording OBS so that you can, send that to the VOD, if that's supposed to be profiteering, off of a man's death, then anybody that ever did any kind of streaming, right, period, for anything could be accused of the exact same thing. And that is definitely not the motivation there. The motivation was the same as it had been from day fucking one, right? To build a community of people around me that understood me, that wanted to understand me without malice and understand that, one, I'm a veteran that's been through a lot of shit. So a lot of patience is going to be required in order to do that. That's simple. So anyway, thanks for letting me come in here today, Chud. I'll talk to you later, buddy.
Okay.
That is an incredible amount of horseshit all at once. Oh my god. That is such incredible horseshit.
And then he's gone.
And then he dips out because he knows that I can actually say exactly what he was talking about.
Mel, I will say,
Him and I were in a voice chat, and it was a couple of days after the big fight. And I told him in that voice chat, because he wanted me on his side. And I told him, I said, look, if you want to do your stream, that's fine. We are all on board. We don't care. We can do 5 streams about Colonel Dan. We really cared about him. He was a good person. And I said, but we're going to continue with this memorial service because we have a lot of information from the family and from the internet and stuff about Dan that we want to share with the rest of the community. Things that people didn't know about Dan. And so we pushed forward. Well, CTV wanted to have a conversation with me and asked me if I'd join him in voice chat. And I said, sure. You know, I'm just a mod. So we jumped into voice chat. And towards the end of the conversation, he brought up the whole, well, things weren't going the way he wanted them to go. And I said, well, what do you mean by the way you wanted it to go? And he said, well, didn't you read my initial post? And I said, well, it was a really long post, and I was trying to figure out exactly what was going on with Dan at the time. So no, I didn't read the whole thing. I just kind of perused it. And he says, go back and read the last paragraph. And so I went back and read it, and this is what it says. So as far as letting the community know, I think setting a time for a meeting would be good. And we agreed. And then he said, get the streamers together for a panel so folks can let Dan's family know what he meant to each of us. I agree. And he goes on to say, I would say keep the information unspoken. As to this chat, adding in certain people like Wobbly and Mel, for instance, so that we can prepare an announcement for the community. Thoughts? I went back to CTV in that voice chat, and I said, so are you trying to tell me that only you, Preacher, myself, and Wobbly were supposed to know that Colonel Dan had passed? Everybody else was going to find out on stream? You know, with their cameras facing them? And he said, well, what's the big deal about that? Dan was just somebody we knew from the internet. I lost my shit. And I told him flat out, I said, if you think I'm going to be involved in anything like that, you have lost your fucking mind. There is absolutely no way. And when this initial post happened on the 27th, Preacher and I started neither one of us actually read the full post because we were more concerned with Dan. And so then we started contacting the people that were the closest to Dan in the community, the ones who actually spoke to him, like in the voice chat and had a relationship with him, to let them know that Dan had passed because we all knew Dan was sick and he was getting sicker and sicker. So I think everybody that cared about him knew it was imminent. And so I let everybody, Preacher and I let people know. And then the next morning I got online to do the show with Wobbly, and CTV jumped in, and he was madder than a fucking hornet because Preacher and I had started telling people in the community, the people that knew Dan the best. What is the point in holding that information back from people who cared about him? That's what I don't get.
I really wish that would have come out while CTV had been here. Mel, I kind of took a little bit of like, I got a little perturbed there when you're like, nobody's been saying anything. For months, you were the one that was sitting in various Discord servers saying, I don't like CTV for this reason and this reason. I think he's a terrible person. I don't want to influence anybody, but this is exactly what I think. And
I never said he was a terrible person.
You've kind of been a central figure to this entire thing and keeping it around, even after CTV has been gone for I don't know how the heck long. And I see a lot of people going, well, he did this little thing, and he did this little thing, and he did this little thing, and then trying to pile a million little accusations on the table with not a lot of evidence and say, well, and because of this, I know he's a terrible person. I don't even know that much of anything, and I appreciate Chud giving everybody a forum here to bring everything and finally get this all out into the open, because frankly, I feel like there's not a lot of evidence, not a whole lot's being said, and everybody's trying to defame CTV's character with a lot of small allegations, hoping that they'll add up to something cohesive enough to say that, well, this is so unbearable, I cannot believe it.
No, that's not true, buddy. Okay, we're not trying to throw CTV under the bus. All we're trying to do is get the truth out into the light. That's it.
And he keeps bringing it up. So what, I'm not supposed to defend myself? I'm not supposed to read his actual writing to you? I've tried to explain this to you, and you get mad at me, and you don't want to hear it. That's fine. I don't care. If you don't want to hear it, then don't ask about it, or don't listen to me talk about it when people are asking me point blank what actually happened. I mean, this is really not fair. I didn't start any of this.
My issue is
I'm going to defend myself, though, every single fucking time, and you best believe that.
I'm not saying anything. You can't be the one saying everything and then say, I'm not saying anything.
When did I say he was a horrible person?
Personal responsibility from the entire
When
situation.
did I say he was a horrible person? When did anybody say that CTV was a horrible person?
Excuse me, you're right.
Not
it's
one.
like it's like Chud did before. You're going to do everything that you can to point at it and be like, no, I'm not actually saying it. You have to say it.
I'm giving you the information, and you can make up your own mind.
Obviously, you've come to that conclusion yourself just by what we've been saying. I mean, that's not... Nobody said that.
Yeah. No, if I thought he was horrible, I'd come right out and say it.
I mean, what...
I get why he doesn't want to admit to some of this shit, and I wouldn't want to either. But the fact of the matter is that he's trying to blame me and like 5 other people for his problem. The problem he started. And none of this would have even happened if he had just done the stream that he said he wanted to do. Everybody was fine with it and left it alone with that. He could have done what he wanted to do. None of us had a problem with it. CTV didn't want us to do the second one. That's what he was pissed off about.
In the announcement.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Sorry, go on.
I don't know. I don't know, Chad. Like I said, I didn't really want to be here. I don't think Mel really wanted this to fucking happen. We're just trying to put some clarity from a first person perspective on something that has been going through the rumor mill for the past week. The first time that I heard about this coming out was, what was it, Kid Notkin's stream with you, Alexa? And from there, it's just been snowballing. So all we're trying to do is just clear the air and let the truth to the light. That's it.
Well, can I ask, do you feel that Alexa's characterization of events was kind of accurate as someone that was there?
I did not see the entire stream of Kid Notkin.
Mel did.
Well, I didn't see the whole thing. I seen it probably towards the end, but I mean, essentially, yeah. I mean, the one part that I did have a problem with is that, you know, not in words, CTV didn't tell anybody to fuck off, you know, his nephew, but, you know, essentially, you know, when you're telling somebody, you know, you can't use your own personal server for a conversation about something, you have to use mine. Well, yeah, you're basically telling somebody to fuck off. So,
and for that, there is evidence. You were just showing it on stream, Chad. You've got that DM right there. So you don't say that we're just pulling shit out of our ass and making shit up.
We've been hearing for weeks now. CTV told this family member to fuck off. No, he didn't. He said to the entire group, if we're doing something in a Discord server, I want it to be done in my Discord server. He didn't tell anybody to fuck off. He said, this is what I want. And yeah, he's making demands that are overly aggressive, but you guys are exaggerating this stuff and then trying to cover your ass and build all the plausible deniability. I'm not saying anything.
So dramatic.
That's my issue with this entire thing has been, Mel, you're a freaking shit stirrer in this entire situation, making it into an issue. You're the one that's been sitting on Alexa's frickin' shoulder feeding her information. She was getting accused by Chud Logic of, hey, you don't have a lot of information that's substantiated here. You're the reason that frickin' Alexa's out here doing this.
Okay, number one, you don't even know both sides of the story because you weren't involved in the situation at all. You're out of the out of the loop as far as the actual story goes. You only know what you know because you've talked to CTV, you've heard from me, and you've heard from Alexa. Well, what little you've heard from me, because every time I've ever tried to open my mouth, you shut me down. So you've never really even heard my side of this.
Mel, I've
So I
heard
don't know who the
absolutely
I don't know
everything
I
that
don't
you've
know
said.
and I don't know who the fuck you think you're lecturing. But you need to take it down a notch because I've never had a problem with you, but I'm going to start having one if you think you're going to talk to me like I'm a fucking idiot. I've not lied about a damn bit of this. When I'm asked a question,
you of lying about
when
anything. I accuse you of
when-
mischaracterizing and
I don't
stirring
care.
shit.
I don't care. I'm not stirring shit. I only talk about it when I'm asked directly. I don't bring him up just because I'm bored or I want to talk about him. People ask me questions directly about what happened, and I tell them because I am not going to be accused of being a liar. Because this is bullshit. This is shit that he started, he fomented, he's brought up again after I thought it was done and over with, and so did EOD and everybody else.
Yeah, it was over.
He fucking restarted this shit, not me.
I guess the thing I'd say with that though, if you know, you're at the very least gesturing towards the idea that you say profiting off someone's death or doing something inappropriate like that, like, do you not think he's going to respond to that? Like, surely he's going to respond to allegations like that.
Well, he's allowed to respond. I don't care. But I'm also allowed to defend myself and say what he actually said. And people can make up their own minds what they think he said. It's no skin off my back what people believe.
Okay. Well, listen. Thanks for coming on. Sorry it wasn't ending in any sort of productive end, but you know it is what it is sometimes. Anything else anyone wants to say?
No, just thanks, Chud. I appreciate the opportunity to clear the air.
Yep.
No worries.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
all the best. Cheers. Bye bye. Right, Alexa. Somebody online. Do you want to? What do you think?
Somebody, you want to go first?
Well, Chud, again, I really want to thank you very much. I feel like I didn't say a whole lot during the entire back and forth throughout the course. I felt like you played the role that I was trying to play on Kids Stream originally. I feel like CTV's not here, and I feel like we actually need to examine the evidence rather than just like jump on the bandwagon and start piling on with everyone else. And I'm just trying to get the clarity, find out what the accusations are, and then see what the evidence of the accusations are, rather than go accusation punishment like everyone else is. And I want to thank you very much for trying to get to the bottom of this, and that's why I didn't want to say anything until CTV left at the end, and I felt like no one was saying what needed to be said again.
Well, no, listen, I appreciate you stepping in. I mean, obviously, you know, oh, hang on a sec. Someone else wants to get in on this. The Mind of Oz. I think they've been on before. I've spoken to them about other stuff, so let's bring them on and see if they've got any contributions. Listen, Sruxon, I know you've maybe rejoined on another account. You see your cameras running. I mean, yeah, I'm just going to pull you into the other chat actually, so we don't get. Expecting like maybe if you've joined on I want to think I can't bring you on. You said the M-word on stream. I don't bring on people that say the M-word on stream. That's insanity. I was going to play the alerts while we wait for the Mind of Oz to get in here.
The Mind of Oz is in the green.
Okay, great. I'm can anyone check what Svuxon's up to? Can anyone check? Because he's got his camera on. I need to know.
I will say that, in my opinion, he's been fairly well behaved recently, Chud. I haven't had him use any dirty language in my presence for quite some time.
Okay, well, it's being checked out now. Let's bring on Mind of Oz for now. Okay, hello. Hello?
What's up? How you doing?
Good, how you doing?
I'm good. So just
Okay.
one thing I wanted to say is we need to not throw accusations at. I'm not defending him and what he did, but we need to wait for the evidence to come out and not make accusations towards him Because just like we've seen in the Uvalde shooting, everyone put in hands that the cops were not doing the shit that they need. But, you know, what happened? They didn't know shit that happened. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, wait till shit comes out. If we see the stuff, we're opinionated to change our mind. If not, then, you know, you see what I'm saying, Chud? Or no?
Sorry, I got a bit distracted there. Are you talking about making claims without evidence? Is that what you're trying to say?
I'm saying let's wait for the evidence to come out and let whoever's going to do the investigation or whatever the fuck is going to happen, or quote unquote investigation, or whatever evidence that they see is going to help defend Colonel Dan and whatever. Because I do respect Colonel Dan, but I also respect CTV, and I'm honestly lost at this point because I wasn't too aware of what happened, and I'm having to play the catch up game, and it's also kind of like a one story narrative where people only tell one side of the story versus the other, and it's like I don't know who to talk. I don't know who to say, so I'm going to talk to CTV and see what he's going to say. Yes, people in your chat may think I'm fucking crazy, but guess what? I'm not. It's just I'm just trying to clear out all the lines and see, okay, what actually happened, what lines up, and if something doesn't add up, I need to do more. You know what I mean? Like if something doesn't add up, it's like okay.
Well, okay, the way, yeah, basically, like this is, you know, this is like internet drama or whatever, right? I don't think this is gonna get investigated as such, but the way I look at it is, if you're going to talk about
I
it
was
or
saying
cover
like
it,
whoever's gonna. I was saying who like. Of course, no one's going to investigate, but whoever's going to get the evidence to prove that CTV was in the wrong. You know what I mean? Like, because obviously someone out here is going to do it. You know what I mean?
okay. So focus on. Listen, I should be banned from the Discord. My finger's on the mute button. Like, listen, against my better judgment, what have you got to say?
The waiting is the worst part.
Well, I guess if we can't hear him, he can't say anything.
Oh, fuck, I've been on mute. I'm so terribly sorry.
Okay, are you
I
going to
just
say a
had a-
racial slur, Suxon? Yes or
None,
no?
zero. I swear on anything anyone feels holy. I swear. I am completely. There is no words. I do not say any of those at all. I swear.
Right. According to information I've got in front of me here, I'm getting an
And the
echo.
thing I
Maybe
wanted to
that's you.
say is
So
that
wait. Sorry, let me read this out quickly.
Well,
He
because
says so. Wait. Apparently, you know
Okay,
Colonel
go ahead.
Dan in ways that no one else
Yes,
did, and this is what
that is
Colonel
correct.
Dan asked you to do before he passed away. Is that right?
I would like to channel a bit of Colonel Dan to say he would like to see everyone get along. He was a war fighter who realized and knew that the best kind of war was to not have any fights. So this is ridiculous overall. As a grown-up, I just want to say I don't believe this kind of fight over a person, over any which way. And I'm happy to get slings and arrows. I have resilience, and though I come across strange sometimes, I can certainly control myself because I happen to find out that I'm the grown up here. And that's a bit weird, but I can do that. And I just want to say that overall, there's a lot of strange things. People get really amped up in this high school 2.0 we call Twitch, Discord, Polyspace, whatever it is. But I've been the one from the beginning saying, let's have nice Bohemian dialogues. I've been the one who's like, let's not say rude things
Sorry,
constantly
what
to
has
each
this got
other.
to do with the topic at hand? What the fuck are you
What
talking
would you
about?
like to know about this Colonel Dan situation? I'm here to be a fair and balanced witness to so much of this from the perspective of Colonel Dan and what he was trying to do in his daily teachings, essentially.
So you knew him?
Yes.
Okay.
And I
What
know
was his?
everyone here and everyone has a huge heart. And that's what's tearing apart my own heart, because I'm like, this is not what he would want. This is what not anyone would want. And how can
True.
it be that anyone finds themselves in this situation where they're suddenly, so upset over a person who meant so much to everyone? I don't really quite understand, but I'm still only little to all this Discord space, but growing quickly and realizing that my own reputation I have to protect from abrading, from people just slagging things, malicious gossip, the dog piling on, and then the fucking Lord of the Flies. Can I say fuck? I'm terribly sorry. Oh my God.
You can say fuck. Listen, I think Charmhole might be able to give some insight. Charmhole, how do you respond to Zvix on here?
Dear God.
I mean, listen, this conversation is winding down anyway, so, you know.
True. Let me just turn down your channel. First off, people subscribe to Chud. Second, oh my God, am I hearing this right? An American veteran may have profited off of another man's death? What? When has this ever happened in the history, in the history of American?
But even that,
militarism?
don't be post-ironic. This is a fucking man's life and a death, and he really meant a lot, and ha ha ha. How much could possibly be? 4 zeros? I don't think so. 3 zeros maybe? Come on. How much profit? Like, to conjecture like that seems ridiculous. If it's 6 zeros, okay, let's talk then, okay? Colonel Dan probably wouldn't have minded anyway. Give it to some charity that he care about. But people casting aspersions, finding hypocrisy hunters. Hypocrisy. You said this, but then did that. It's just ridiculous. When
you literally said nothing about him. You
other
specifically to talk about him, and
you know what? You're metaing about me. When people who are grown up hear my words and understand that there's a passion about life and death, and I'm not just ironic post J-ragging here, but I wish I could because he's awesome. So listen. Okay, I don't know what any of this is. It was bad enough when I saw Anne of War for the first time and said to Stardust, 10 children in high school every day kill themselves. And Twitch is like a high school 2.0 with people laughing and telling each other, Roblox each other, treating mental health as if it's not important. And then people accuse me of not making sense when it's a bunch of children, an infantilized West. Maybe. I don't know what it is.
So you don't have anything to talk about the actual man or the myth?
I think okay. If I was Colonel Dan, I would have a very interesting comment for you right now, young man.
Well, you told Chud you wouldn't be able to say any of that, so.
No, none of that, you ridiculous donut.
Okay, listen, I'm going to be honest with you. The vibe I'm getting is, I mean... Charmhole's the voice of reason. He's just come in and said you're not speaking about the topic at hand. So
ask me questions. What would anyone like to know? I'm an observer. I sit back. I don't like opening my mouth. I like having 2 ears to listen and 1 mouth to keep closed so that people don't know I'm an idiot.
Okay.
All of these are regular euphemisms for wisdom, for being balanced, for being a grown-up, for taking things seriously like he did in his 37 years of a military career.
I've got a question for you.
Sure.
What message specifically, what words did Dan say to you before he passed away?
I can't tell you.
Why not?
Because it's the military. There's you have a fucking respect and
Okay.
You don't just this interrogation of people like, oh, what does this and what is that? It's like the ability to have a conversation to understand what the full situation is.
Well,
I mean, that's what he showed so much about how to understand a situation, not from some kind of bullshit, any shit between the ads media with some general talking about this or that. He'd point out realities and the way things work. And it's just so many people are just rah, military, rah. And he was totally not that at all.
Okay, so 2 questions just real quick. 1, did he tell you where all the Iraqi bodies were buried? And 2, what color were his eyes?
See, this is such a horrible disrespect for
Yeah, see, you don't fucking know. You're full of shit. I got to go sell some stuff. Bye, Chud. Thanks a lot. Charmhole at Charmhole.
Bye-bye, Charmar.
Who
Thanks
was
for the invitation
that?
reason.
I
That
thought that
was
was. I wish that was Dan. I really like Dan now. Charmhole, I don't know at all. Sound a bit like Dan. But
okay.
anyway,
Well, let
I
me
don't
drop
know
down
what
a
his.
DM and see if he's around. Okay.
Because he would be an interesting interlocutor. He's got a very weird, wonderful, fair and balancedness that I actually respect. I don't know why, but it's weird. But when he's on your stream the other day when he was helping with the goddamn game, oh my god, that goddamn game. Oh, it's very addictive. Hey everybody, if you go to the game, the Metro, what is it?
We have to
The
scan the
Marbles.
QR code.
Scan the
Oh, that's
QR
over.
code, please.
Oh.
Oh fuck, I hate that
Okay.
game so much. I'm addicted. It's like a crack. I need to see the men jumping around, and then that one lady, she just shoots her little gun. Boom, boom. It's very sad.
So, someone called. You're Saxon, right? So, does Dan know who you are? I'm not talking about this General Dan guy. I mean, Dan is in Dan Can't Stream.
Dan the Destiny Dan. Yeah. I'm in an orbit of the orbiters. I didn't know ask for it, but starting with Mr. Girl, and then Brittany, and then like Not So Erudite and Melina, and Destiny wants my mother to DM him. I didn't ask for any of this. I'm just a little Pooh Bear. I was just in Cherry's stream watching Destiny lore, and one day things just blew up.
I'm doing my best to get Dan in here. He's just kind of asking a few questions about you, but he might well be here soon. Is there any particular
can vouch
topic?
for me.
Okay. If Melina was to say something about you, what do you think she'd say?
Probably I'm one of the chat people who are the nice people who chat. I'm up for the space when she said, "Oh, we should have more stuff than just travel and, you know, sex and drugs." Space, Neil deGrasse Tyson and whatnot. There's a big conversation at the time about that. She's got a really nice, cozy chat. She's smart.
Okay. Well, Dan is.
I didn't ask for this because this is about Dan, Colonel Dan, the Colonel Dan as well, because it would just be extra interesting Dan to Dan. Because Chud, is it just me? Like as a parent, you understand that people can get really out of sorts about things that don't seem to be reasonable. When a person dies, I mean, I've been through the loss of my father, my brother. Oh, fuck, who else? I mean, I moved to Britain to be able to help with family with dementia. Thankfully, that wasn't so hard, but like, I know people get really twerked out, but my God, because I was just waiting for Colonel Dan's memorial, because I was often actually late to Colonel Dan's stream and be on often, and being able to look into this really interesting real-time conflict, to be able to sometime in the future go back in the day when there was a Korean War, we were right there and talking about it, and it's like being in the 60s thing with the Kennedy crisis with what was it, the nuclear weapons, anyway. So for all these people to be now doing this, I just don't understand.
Okay, what do you want to speak to Dan about?
I don't know. He's a really good, he'd be a good lawyer, like a prosecutor.
Lucifer's in the waiting room.
Oh, okay. Lux should be able to join anyway, but okay, there we go. Hi, Lux.
No, I just I don't know. You said something, and it popped into my mind that of all the people who are strangely fair and balanced.
Okay, can you focus and just tell me one topic you want to discuss with him?
Why do people get upset about this particular situation? Perhaps for specifically Dan, by mention to him that it's less than $10,000 and probably less than $100 of revenue that could possibly be extracted from Dan's stream. And I think he would laugh and say, why are all these people freaked out about this? He understands business in a way that a lot of people don't, it seems.
Okay, so
Don't trust
basically
yourself.
about business.
Yeah, the business, the accusation that CTV is going to profit from. You know, when someone showed me that they had 100 times their profit on their cryptocurrency, but they'd started with a penny, I was like, that's fantastic. But you know what's good with capitalism? Capital to leverage. So a lot of people don't understand that business is like, you can just say, oh my gosh, he's profiting. But so is a little kid with their lemonade stand for raising money for Ukraine here.
I did that. I ran a lemonade stand to raise money for Ukraine, but I don't trust you, Saxon. I think you're lying to me.
I don't need to be trusted, and I'm with the Mr. Girl life of being able to say you're lying, and I can do the best I can to
I have
establish
a
that
question to ask you,
perhaps
Saxon.
I'm not. Yes.
Okay. As somebody who claims that they're familiar with Dan, you
Yes.
must be familiar with the concept of dog warts.
Only recently, though.
All right.
And I was very tired when I heard it, and it was all fucked up. It was just the other day. It was with Chud just
All right.
yesterday. And I saw
I need
something
your
in the
answer.
Destiny stream. Oh, fuck. Mm, it was having sex with a dog, and no one would catch you, and you'd get $100,000.
You get a certain whatever amount of money. The question is, how much money do you have to make to regularly have sex with a dog, and what kind of dog is it?
I had an Irish setter that I loved. He was stupid as wood. If I could get, I don't know, if you enjoyed it, $10 a time.
He does not want you to do it.
He was really stupid.
It doesn't matter. He doesn't consent.
But then why would I
Saxon
do it
doesn't
then?
believe in consent.
Saxon,
No, I
are
don't
you
know
a rapist?
why I love my dog though. He's a nice dog. I'd
Yeah,
give
well.
him a reach around. Okay, wait a second. Like
He says the same thing. He says the same things to women. I promise.
I'm not like this. I'm saying I don't like this idea of anyone having an unconsensual thing with anyone. I don't even like the idea of people derogating people. It's like, why? Why waste time going, you're a dummy bum? You know, when you can use your time creative to create things and work with people and do a improv yes and instead of no, you're stupid. When I came up with the pineapple thing, it was for other people to be able to do for themselves so that people wouldn't have to yell at them, shut the fuck up in a VC. And then people got this idea that Baby had assigned it as some kind of law for me only, and that I was breaking the law when I'm an anthropological, sociological, psychological experimenter trying to lead the way for people, and they go, you don't make any sense. It hurts. I never said the N-word like that either.
How did you say
Okay.
the N-word?
No, please don't, please, because
I'm never going to again.
Stop. Yep. Careful.
I have full control. All I can say is if I ever had no control, I totally have control. I have control over every word now in ways that other people don't seem to be like grown-ups. So they start insulting people immediately in any kind of a discussion, any kind of a thing. It's like, oh, you're stupid, you're stupid. And it's like, come on, you're so mid. Is that the best you've got? Is just some cheap ad homs when you can be luscious if you want to really slice into someone's character if you care.
okay. Anyway, I don't listen. I'm getting a lot of resistance from
Good.
from Dan,
That's
which,
okay,
to be
'cause
honest, I understand because you're a
I
fucking
didn't
schizo.
even ask. I mean, you said something. I don't even know why I said Dan. It's just that
You
he
said that you
seemed
would
like of a.
prefer Dan to Charmhole, and then I think we're trying to oblige Saxon.
Oh,
in
give
that.
me anybody, somebody. You ask me a million questions. We're friends.
So
You
I
like
think
hearing
that the
yourself speak?
general question that people are hoping to get from you is Colonel Dan's last thing that he said to you. It sounds like you had a piece of advice or something that he wanted you to convey to all of the loyal Dan supporters out there. And I hope, or I think that everybody was hoping to hear that from you if it was at all possible.
Well, I could certainly do what he would probably suggest no matter what, which is in the case of a scenario like this where progressing everyone forward with something really positive would be the best result of saying something to the senior staff, the generals, even the Mr. President, and that is, he said everyone should get along. And that if we do our best every day to not feel sin in our heart, which includes the sin of not loving our brother's keeper or, the neighbor or, you know what I'm saying, right? It's like he had a lot of very important Christian values to him. And this kind of idea of his life, because not even look at his death, his life causing this kind of craziness. If he was alive, he'd be whooping ass. Like, that's what's just so ridiculous. Like, people have gotten so twisted up in this in a way that, I've had real health horrible issues in my life that make it so that I don't want to waste a moment of my time getting all ass mad about somebody else. I'd like to take a 10 or 20 minutes or an hour to talk with someone and find out, why their emotions are usually invalidated by everyone saying, no, you're stupid. And often they're really stupid. Like that whole Extreme Dad thing. I was there from the beginning of Extreme Dad showing up at Mr. Girl, and seeing all the ways that different people treat different people. And
Okay, listen.
I know, and
Thanks,
I
everyone.
didn't come
It's
here for
time to
that.
wind it down.
I'm only here for. I know, and the only time I ever came on your thing was it's like I'd sit in the exit room if you needed somebody to chunter on for a little bit. I'm not like looking for any spotlight or anything like this. I just happen to be at the center of this
It's
maelstrom.
time for you to stop talking now, okay?
If you need me in the
Thank you.
future, I'm available anytime. Thank you, Chud.
Okay, thanks.
You're
bye.
awesome.
Right, I'm gonna. Right, I'm bringing this thing to an end. Okay, why?
I think you could have milked him for more content. You're falling off,
No-
brother.
No, look, you can't. When someone is just rambling a bunch of schizo shit, it's hopeless. It's game over.
Maybe,
Well, if he's
maybe
like
I
five head and
have
we
the
don't
content
understand
creatively.
it. Well, if he's like so beyond us, we just don't understand what he's saying.
Not gonna lie, he was like going from like topic to topic every 2 seconds, and I couldn't understand what the fuck he was saying to the point where I almost had a brain aneurysm.
I respect him. I think
Okay,
the rest of you guys are
I'm
actually.
bouncing. Thanks for coming on, and somebody online, and Queen Alexa, thanks for having me on for the interview. I appreciate it.
Yeah,
Okay?
thanks for coming, buddy.
Thank you again, Chud.
Okay. Cheers. Catch you later. Bye bye.
Yep. Holy fuck.
Well, Queen Alexa, I'd chalk that up as another successful interview. Holy Hannah, that might have been the best one yet.
Let's head to my server.
Word, let's go.
What's up, Alexa?